of Rhett Palmer, Vero's voice, the mayor of the airwaves, and we're about to go live.
It's a lot easier. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries, no worries. You guys are watching a behind the scenes show, so this is not, it's just happening right in front of you, and there's nobody watching now. So hello, replay people. But anyway, here we are on the site of the studio of Rhett Palmer. If you've ever been in Vero Beach, you know exactly who this is. He's got a great big sign or a billboard outside of town, which is super exciting. What's the call numbers for the station? Robert, do you know?
I don't know.
This is Robert.
No, David.
I'm sorry, David. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Sorry, this is David.
Nice to meet you.
Tell everybody a little bit about
Peace and
yourself.
love. I'm a
if you would
retired
mind.
diplomat. Red will introduce me and you
Okay.
at the beginning of the show, so you'll find out more. But I
Okay.
am a retired diplomat and served all over the world, and also a former academic. Went to the London School of Economics, did an MPhil at London School, and published a book on economic sanctions against the USSR
Oh, wow.
back in the day. So,
Okay.
but that was before my hair was gray.
Yes, we
That
know
was when
all
Gor-
about the hair turning gray.
That's when Gorbachev was still running the place.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I actually went to the White House when Reagan was hosting Gorbachev.
Oh, wow.
I was actually in the lawn. They had a big lawn festival.
Yeah.
And so I saw Gorbachev and Reagan.
What an experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Well, you guys,
How
look,
are ya?
it's Reds in the
Haven't
house.
seen you in
So good to
forever.
see you.
Oh, look at she's got
I know,
a
we're
thing
live.
with her.
We're live
Oh,
already.
yeah.
Say hi. We're on YouTube.
There she is. Isn't she pretty?
So good to
Isn't
see
she
you again, my
pretty?
friend. I haven't seen Rhett in years, actually. I mean, I've talked to him on the
Last
phone,
time we
but
went down to that
it's
steakhouse
been a long
down there.
time.
We gotta get down there. again.
that's right. We do. We have
was
to
the
do
name of
another
that?
steakhouse. I don't know. Was it Martin's or
Roadhouse?
something? I don't know.
Hello.
Hey,
How's our favorite
Hi, guys.
former U.S. diplomat?
how's Mr.
Okay, so
Roadkill?
I'm going to kind of ignore
David,
you all. You guys are going to be watching as we go live on
Getting in
this.
here so late.
This is
Hello, I'm the
Dolan.
studio producer. If you would like, I don't know if you can, but or if you
Yeah.
want to, but I can plug your phone into the sound device there,
Ooh la
so
la.
that way everybody's voice comes in nice and
What
clear
do you
on your
think,
live.
guys? How about that? Let's do it.
We'll try that.
Yeah, let's
all right,
do
let me-
it.
let me
All
grab-
right,
let me
all
grab
right.
it.
Aren't they helpful here?
It's wild, isn't it?
So amazing. I'm so excited to be here.
Here she's
How many
live
years?
In person. It's
Right.
like a movie star.
I
I
mean-
see her all the time on the internet, and here she is
Yeah,
with that beautiful smile.
Aw,
Hey guys, how you doing? Yep, she's been putting up with me as a friend for too long.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was on real radio for 26 years, and like maybe 15 or 20 of those
Yeah.
you would call in, and she's on
Yeah.
the last minute list.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
by-
Yeah. I'm
by
on the last minute list.
Consultation, something
Yeah.
breaking in the
That's
news.
right. He
Pardon
knows
me, I
he can
just
count on me.
grabbed this
You called
thing here,
Jill?
so that way-
That he
there we
called
go.
Jill.
And she's
Exactly.
always got an
There we go.
opinion, as you know.
Yes, we know that.
And
We
it's a
know
good
that.
opinion, right?
Thank you. Thank you. We hope so.
Okay, put that back on you. You're much more pleasant to look at than me.
All right. All right, so I'm going to plug this
Okay,
in. It's
okay.
going to go quiet for a minute because I've got the
Okay.
mics muted. So
That's
here we go.
This is Doolin. He's a
Hello,
real,
all right.
real asset.
Yes. It says headphones or other device.
I'll get it. No, I'll get it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I got it for you.
Doolin, it's asking me headphones, other device.
You can just put headphones.
This is something you wrote.
There
or
you
no?
go.
Oh,
That
like-
should be able. There you go.
That's something.
And now your guests should be able to hear you. And
Mention it in the show.
you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
This
Take
is-
two.
Who owns this?
That's mine. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? Can you see me?
All right, here we go.
Here we go. My new jingle. Listen to this
Okay.
jingle.
Ooh, we got a jingle.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, serving the Treasure Coast for over 30 years, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
Hey, how you doing? This is Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves. Gosh, I think it's our 32nd year we're coming into this year.
Really?
32nd year, yeah.
That's a lot.
26 on secular radio and now 5 or 6 on the.
I have a kid that old.
You do.
I do.
He or
32.
she?
She is 32. My
Wow.
firstborn.
So she
Yeah.
was firstborn when Charlie Kirk.
1993
Charlie
then.
Kirk was
Charlie
born the
Kirk-
year before I
that's
started my
right.
radio
Charlie
show.
Kirk was a year younger than my daughter.
But it's
I
very-
mean, I'm sorry, a month younger than my
But
daughter.
that's very depressing because Charlie accomplished so much, and I'm still there going, would you like to buy some
Oh.
advertising for my radio show?
No.
So we have this is Jill, in case I don't know if they heard it when we were going on. Now your audience heard it.
Yeah.
Jill, of course, Jill Cohen has been coming on my show for, I don't know, 25 years. And she's, I think,
Was
I'm not
that
sure
long?
how long it was.
No, it's probably about 10 years.
No, it's more than that. Maybe.
No,
maybe-
I've been doing the Beach Report for 10 years.
It's
so
kinda like a
it's
marriage.
about
It
10
seems
years.
that long.
Oh, no.
Only
That
kidding.
seems bad.
No, it's good. But she's, I'm not sure what she is. I know that she's a Jewish girl who believes in Jesus. I know
No.
that she's a mother to one or two.
Two.
Two. Wow. How old are they now? One's-
Jennifer is 32 and Toby is 29.
Okay, and let's put that on you because you're much more nicer to look at than me. And she's been your reporter.
I've been a journalist my entire career. I graduated from Ohio University Scripps School of Journalism in
Really?
1987.
Wow.
So I am an old school journalist. I could lay out an entire newspaper from soup to nuts with,
You know,
to
we
my
need more
hands.
real journalists in today's world, don't we? Objectivity.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I know,
gosh.
so now I know you lean towards the right. My friend in here, who's former U.S. diplomat, David Hunter, he went to, by the way, the London School of Economics as well as many other places. I forget, you overeducated guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a
I was a diplomat.
diplomat in Spain, Portugal? No, not Portugal. Hold on, no. Let's see, Spain, South Korea, India.
Next to India,
Next in Pakistan.
right?
And there's one other.
The one that's now fighting
Oh,
Russia.
yes, not Iraq.
Fighting Russia.
Yeah, fighting Russia,
Wow.
Ukraine.
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 Yeah.
You've been all over the world,
Oh, God.
David.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around, and he lived in all those places, which gives him a particularly good insight. He comes from a family that was conservative. I would say, if I were to categorize him, he leans towards the left.
No.
No,
but I'm-
you
but
really, you
I'm-
still resist that.
My
but
father.
he's not a Trumpster, though.
My father was military officer, Air Force officer, fighter ace.
Wow.
Okay.
Fighter ace.
Fighter ace, yeah, in World War II.
Oh, man.
And
What does that mean, fighter ace?
fighter ace means that he shot down at least 5 enemy aircraft.
Oh my gosh.
so that's
World War
Wow.
II?
World War II, yeah.
That's some
Yeah.
PTSD.
And that would
for
be
ya.
He's
that
no
would be,
longer alive,
you know,
right?
Yeah, no, he's not now, but he survived the war. He did.
That's
he,
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's impressive, yes.
I consider myself probably what I would call a Reagan Republican.
Yeah, you liked Reagan.
Yeah, I think that's about the middle of the ground. That's where I would go.
Well,
I wouldn't go
Reagan
much
certainly,
further.
Reagan was my favorite president. Well, Abraham Lincoln's my favorite. Well, George Washington, Abe Lincoln, but
Trump's
Reagan
my
up
favorite.
until Trump. Well, Trump's a real leader. He can be caustic, but he's abrasive. But
He's
he's
got to do what
certainly-
he's got to do.
He's the man for the hour.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do have one story that you won't like. I don't particularly like, but remember, I tell both sides. I know
Right.
stories where Trump has helped a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to go to a Bible study up at Johns Island here, very affluent community,
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesday mornings, all men, and there was a ace pilot there. Your father would be
Mm.
interested in this. And he said later on he had an electrician company. Did I tell you that story? And he was the electrician for Trump's new place in Atlantic City.
Oh.
The betting, what do you call those? The gambling place?
Casinos.
Casino.
Yeah.
And it was that Friday, and next Tuesday was the grand opening. And so Trump, well, maybe you didn't finish this or didn't finish that. So he said, "You're going to have to sue me for the final $300,000." And this is my friend. Now I don't think he lied. This was a real. He was at least the last to speak at the table, which I always observe those guys because they're usually the guys of the greatest depth. Those who say the least. Anyway, ironic, right?
That's true.
But anyway, it's true. But anyway, so he said, and he said, well, he said to Trump, he said, well, the 300,000. I says, gee, it'd be a shame if your lights weren't working on the marquee for your grand opening on Tuesday.
boy.
He gave him the check for 300,000 immediately. See, that's and of course back then when he told me that story, you think it's a harsh story, you think it makes Trump evil and no good. There's a whole different mindset and caveats that rule that business world. Not that I would want to be a part of that. I believe a handshake should be a handshake. I believe your word should be your bond.
Mm-hmm.
But so I give Trump a little lenience in there. But then again, remember, I know other stories where Trump was a good guy and helped people out. So
Yeah, yeah.
We've all heard those stories. I've also heard a lot of sour grapes, especially when you live in South Florida.
oh yeah,
A lot of people dealt with Trump business-wise in South Florida. A
they're
lot
not
of
happy.
yeah, a lot of big deals that went sour. Somebody invested and they didn't get what they wanted or whatever. They got sour grapes and they hate Trump because
Well, he
of
seems
it.
he seems to not know. Like I know I was not good with boundaries growing up, and he seems to not know. Like right now, saying that when he smells Maypon in the air, he thinks of money. Well, not really. This morning he said
No.
when he's we hears the tractors that are pulling down half the White House. He says, "Ooh, building. It smells like money to me."
Yeah, well,
Sounds
well,
like
he is
money.
a building
yeah.
contractor. So what do
All
you
right. Well,
All right,
listen.
let's-
We're not. Trump is not on the menu today.
That's
so
right.
let's,
So we got that straight
let's
out.
go ahead
Now,
and,
Venezuela, U.S. war looming. Yeah. I mean, there's two sides. There's two ways to look at this. I mean, these guys have been bringing in all these drugs, killing our people. And U.S. Southern Command Chief suddenly retiring, Admiral Alvin Halsey. Admiral Halsey. Didn't the Beatles-
Halsey.
Remember Halsey?
Halsey.
Admiral Halsey had a cup of tea. Remember the Beatles had a song, I think Paul McCartney, who was appointed to head the U.S. Southern Command last year, announced he will suddenly retire on December 12th after less than 1 year on the job. This happening while the Trump administration is bombing drug boats off Venezuela and threatening a war. Let's hear your side of the story first.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is an important project. It's not part of what I call World War III. I mean, one of my friends emailed me and said, "Well, how does this fit into what we're looking towards, which is World War III?" And he's concerned that you're going to see, the U.S. and Russia get into a conflict and it'll escalate, or maybe another explosion with Iran over the nuclear episode. There are all kinds of possibilities for things that could break out. Venezuela is way down south. Not that far. It's not as far south as Argentina or something
It's so
like that.
south that they don't even
But it's-
have a southern accent.
But it's south. It's south of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. And that seems to be the battlefield at the moment. Venezuela, allegedly by Trump and some of his experts, is a conduit for bringing drugs in with these boats that we've seen that have been blowing up.
Well, they said the president is like in the cartel.
Well,
That's what's
and I'm going to explain.
suggested?
I want to explain all that because this is complicated stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, complicated stuff. The allegation is that these are Venezuelan drug traffickers who are defined by Trump and newly defined as narco-terrorists. Now, this is an interesting concept. Generally, a drug trafficker is like the guy that sells drugs on the street, or we've had drug trafficking since the 1980s with coming across from Mexico and all that kind of stuff. The Sinaloa cartel
Sure.
is an example of a big drug trafficker down in Mexico. And they are not considered terrorists. They're considered drug traffickers. They smuggle people. They commit mayhem. They're, you might argue, quote, poisoning people, although I would want to contradict that and say that a lot of the problem we have in America is because people keep shoving stuff up their nose and into their arms.
There's free will.
It is free will, and it is basically a demand-driven market. Okay.
Is it the gun that kills them, or is it the
Well,
people behind the gun?
in this case, can you blame the guy who's selling the gun versus the guy who's buying the gun and shooting somebody? So the argument being that.
But then you've got a guy who comes to my child's school and sells the kids to be cool some drugs, and they start taking the drugs, and some of them die. Then what do we do? You know what I'm saying?
And then also some of them don't know they're taking drugs. They think it's an aspirin.
Well,
or
that's
something.
different. That's
So
that's
that's
different.
a lot
Do you
of
know
that
that if you
happens
find
a lot.
somebody dead, you're not supposed? I didn't know this till this week. You're not supposed to touch them because it might be so highly condensed.
With,
Like
you're
meth
talking
or
with the
something.
fentanyl, with the
you could
fentanyl.
die.
Well, anyway, and also let me clarify something. When
Yeah.
when Trump is talking about millions or hundreds of thousands of Americans dying of drugs and drug overdoses,
Yes.
most of that now is fentanyl.
Yes.
Fentanyl is not going through Venezuela. Fentanyl is going from China. to
Canada.
to Mexico, not Canada. Canada has 1%. 1% of fentanyl. That's a
How do
total.
they determine these things? That way.
They've got evidence on it. The Canadians, I've got lots of Canadian friends. They
So do I. There's
flew
our
me
own
in.
place up there.
Yeah.
So,
So the reality is that
we're
most
Canadian.
of the fentanyl is coming into to Mexico. Now you got me saying it. Into Mexico, and it's being produced in labs in Mexico from the precursors from China, and then it's being brought into the
Well,
U.S.
then we ought to just blow up Mexico.
Well, there's some
Why
arguments.
don't we blow
Rhett,
up Mexico?
Rhett, where's your bell? Pass me the bell. Okay, so we want to stay on topic here, and this is
I had 2 bells.
yeah.
Where's
Well,
the second
there's
bell?
the good. Okay,
You can have
good.
your own
All right.
bell.
Great. Okay, this
Brett's
is
just like me. We break into song at
this
any
bell.
moment. You never know when it's
This
gonna
bell
happen.
is what's called the ADD bell.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, you guys, I need one of those. I need an ADD bell.
Bell broke.
Oh no, there's nothing worse.
Okay. All right.
Julian, can you fix my bell?
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
He goes, nope.
Okay. Anyway, let's go back to this. So the reality is, if you're going to be angry about deaths in America from fentanyl overdose, and that is a serious problem. I'm not joking. It's not coming from Venezuela. Okay. Venezuela is a transit point.
What are they sending us?
Venezuela doesn't produce any drug of its own. Venezuela is a transit point. You look at it on the map.
What are
it's
they
up-
sending? What are they?
They're transiting cocaine coming from Colombia and Peru
How long have they been doing that for?
for a long time. Yeah.
So, how does it correlate with the breakdown of their country? Because their country was very wealthy and doing great until communism stepped in.
Well, I'll do a quick snapshot. I've been to.
Okay.
I was in
Am
Venezuela.
I jumping the gun on that?
No. I've been in Venezuela. I've traveled there back in the 1970s. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I went to Lake Maracaibo.
Okay, what was it like
Lake
then?
Maracaibo. At that time, it was interesting because I was coming up from the coast to Caracas, and it was the highway. They had an express highway, and we were driving in a chauffeured car, and we were driving up, and as we were going up with like 2 lanes of traffic or 3 lanes of traffic going up towards the city, there were motorcycles driving down towards the coast in between us. So we're going in one direction and they're going in another direction at the same time. Can you imagine if you're out on I-95 and you're driving 90 miles an hour and somebody's driving the other direction at 90 miles an hour between your cars?
No,
That's what they were doing.
that's horrific.
Crazy.
Oh my
Crazy,
God!
yeah.
Wow.
Now, also, when I got to Caracas, there were all these high-rise buildings, and I thought, boy, this is pretty nice. They're doing well here. The high-rise buildings were all empty.
They weren't finished?
No, they were finished, but they were not going to be rented out or used.
But they were a facade.
No, they weren't a facade. They were
what?
an investment by the rich Venezuelans. The rich Venezuelans didn't want to keep their money in the currency, so they bought apartment buildings. They didn't want to rent out the apartment buildings because they might have problems with damage to the apartment or whatever. So it was an asset they were holding on as capital. And yet the average Venezuelan was dirt poor. Dirt poor. So you had this wealth
Were they
gap.
expecting some wealthy people to move into the neighborhood in the next decade? Or?
No, it's a way to preserve your money. If it's a lot
Well,
of
not unless somebody's willing to
No, a
buy
lot
it
of-
or pay rent.
Listen, a lot of Russians are laundering their money by buying Miami real estate. Okay,
It's quite
they buy
embarrassing.
condos.
It's quite embarrassing to know that people are making more than I make in 10 years in one day doing it illicitly, and I'm sitting here trying to legitimately make a living.
You know what, Rhett? It doesn't matter because you're playing for the best. You're working for God,
Yeah.
and He doesn't need your money. He doesn't need anyone's
And I really
money.
don't need more money
And
anyway.
you
What are
don't.
you gonna do with
Nobody
it?
needs more money.
Yeah.
Really, there's nothing good about
Well,
that.
well, let me-
lot of
you have
unhappiness in a big
so
house.
much more than that.
Yeah,
Rhett.
let me get back to our topic here. You got off on Venezuela and what it's like, and Venezuela was not a prosperous country, but it was an oil-producing country. Lake Maracaibo and other areas had lots of oil, so they were considered by most of the other South Americans to be rich donkeys. They were a donkey with gold on their back. That's the way that the other South Americans saw Venezuela, and they did not like
Rich
the
donkeys.
They did not like
But
the
you're still a
Venezuelans.
donkey.
Yeah, exactly. So they did not like the Venezuelans. They thought the Venezuelans were arrogant. And then you had, of course, Chavez come in.
Yeah.
And Chavez was, you mentioned he was a communist.
He killed the
was-
country.
Chavez Chavez was what I call a Marxist type. I wouldn't
Because at
call
that
him.
point, Venezuela was one of the 8th wealthiest nation, doing great with their oil exports.
Well,
et
see,
cetera.
they were-
From what David's saying is they were really poor.
They were poor, but they had a
an
lot of
elite
rich people in
class.
oil. It's just like a lot of in the Middle
Okay.
East.
So it wasn't
Middle
this
East.
great society.
It wasn't a great
So the
society.
common people elected this guy Chavez, thinking that he's going to be
Because
the savior.
he would distribute the wealth.
Right.
Oh, and
that's
that
the
was what
point.
they wanted.
Yeah, you see what
Okay.
happened. But
That makes
before
sense.
that, you had this oil cartel owning all the wealth in
Okay,
Venezuela.
okay.
The rich families.
Now,
that's
I never
very
heard
common.
this side of the story before.
I
No,
know.
me
and
either. This
you're
is
going to hear a lot of
fascinating.
that, what I call Hunter insights today, because there's lots of stuff that you've never heard from anywhere else. And yet I can guarantee you this is all accurate stuff. In this case, it's from
Well, no, you say that flippantly, very quickly.
Yeah.
But how do you know? Because there's so much on the internet that I don't know who to trust anymore. You know, half the videos I'm watching now,
Yeah.
they show Robert Redford a few days before he died, laughing with his family, going, "Well, he doesn't look very good." I said, "That's not Robert. It's AI. AI is really there."
AI is skewing the world.
all right.
It's
Well, let's
making
not
everybody
let's not
confused.
drift off on that.
So
'cause
how much
that-
of this do you know is legitimate? What you read on the internet? Because you
it's not
travel
what
the
I
internet.
read. I didn't read it. I was there. I was there. I saw them describe what I
that-
saw with my own eyes.
experience right
That
there.
I
saw it
did
with my own
know.
eyes.
Okay.
And that was in the,
Boom.
All right, you got it.
You
and it
got
was-
it.
all right.
Boom.
and that was in the
It's
19
official.
and that was in the 1970s.
He knows. He lived it, and I
Before
love
Chavez.
that.
See,
Okay,
that's-
great.
1970s, huh?
Great.
1970s.
How old are you,
Rip.
Grandpa?
Let her rip, David.
How old are you? by
I was
the way?
actually leading a U.S. trade mission from the U.S. to Venezuela because
Really?
we were trying to
Oh,
promote trade.
impressive.
We were trying to promote trade with Venezuela at that time. That's before Chavez came in. Anyway, as Jill pointed out, the reality is that the poor people in Venezuela got fed up. They did not like this plutocracy. That's the term for it.
Yeah,
When the rich
plutocracy.
people run the country, that's called a plutocracy. Plutocracy.
We're headed there.
So
by
if
the
there's
way.
an army, the leader will come, and he came. And he
So,
was Chavez.
Chavez was a man of the people, and he was popular. You call him a communist. I would call him probably
Marxist.
a Marxist socialist.
Isn't it all the same?
No, it's
I
not all
mean,
the same.
no.
There's a
Okay.
lot of distinctions. There are different
See the
categories.
way he says that.
Okay,
They're not the
it's
same.
not the
okay.
same.
With
Okay,
authority.
sorry,
okay.
sorry.
Well, just in brief, in 20
Yeah.
seconds, the difference between a
Yes,
Marxist
great
and a communist.
question.
Okay, a Marxist and a communist. Well, the communists have more of what I call a centralized system. Communism is a organizational system. Marxism is a economic philosophy.
Okay.
Economic philosophy of Marxism. Karl Marx did not create a political system of running a country.
This is so helpful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
He didn't do that.
So it's an ideology.
It's an ideology.
Okay,
Marxism
okay.
is an ideology.
Marxism is
Communism is when they
communism
take
is
it and they become dictators.
Communism
Putting
is
it
a
out
brick
there.
by brick,
Brick by brick, okay.
construction, based, interestingly enough, on the concept of communes. Where communism comes from is communes.
Like a
Wow,
kibbutz.
Yeah,
You're
good point.
absolutely right. Many of the people who lived in those East European countries
Or
had-
in Israel, kibbutz.
had experienced, I'm talking about the Jews who lived in East
Ghettos.
European countries, they had experienced communism in Russia or in East
But
Europe.
there's only one
and
problem.
when they came over, they liked the idea
Well, when
of
the Pilgrims first came to America, the first year they almost died of starvation because what happened is they all were doing this communist thing. And you've got little Eva there telling her husband, George, you worked enough in the field. Let little Smith work in the field today. And nobody wanted to work because they didn't have the ownership and they didn't have enough food for the first year. This is a true historical fact.
Rhett.
And that's why when they said, no,
Rhett.
no more communism,
Rhett.
you own your plot of
nobody
land,
is
Mr. Smith.
nobody that I know in the sane world is calling the Pilgrims communists. Okay,
If you
it ain't
study
happening.
history, the first year
No,
they
I
were here, they
studied
almost
history.
starved.
My ancestors came. One of them. some of them are
I
from
want to
Pilgrims.
tell you this. Pat Robertson taught me this.
Yeah, well, that's
from
wrong.
No, it's not. His father was a senator and is highly educated
Yeah, well, good.
man.
I love when you guys spar.
My
It's so
ancestors
fun.
were Pilgrims. Okay, some of my ancestors were Pilgrims. Got off the Mayflower.
Well,
We got
my-
an original American right
my
here. This is
ancestors-
an American man.
My ancestors were pirates. Take
I believe that. I believe
My
that.
ancestors were Russian Jews.
And they beat up your parents.
Okay. You were the Lafayette crowd, right? Yeah.
Stick him up.
Yeah. Well, what we talked about last week, by the way, was this guy Jones, who was John Paul Jones, who was the father of the American Navy.
Yeah.
And John Paul Jones, he was actually called by the British a pirate or a bootlegger, not bootlegger,
Bootlicker?
no, not bootlegger, something with a boot. Anyway, it was like a pirate.
Yeah.
And that's because John Paul Jones,
Boutonniere.
Boutonniere, no, not Boutonniere. He went over to.
Almost got you.
You were close.
He went over to England, believe it or not, sailed to England and started attacking England on the coast and capturing
Yes.
the ships off the coast. So by
I
their
remember this
definition,
vaguely, I do
by their
remember.
definition, that was last week.
That was last week. But
he was accused by the British of being, how dare you? You're a pirate. You're capturing our ships and stealing our gunpowder
They were shocked.
and guns. Yeah, he wasn't a pirate. He was a freedom fighter. He was a freedom
Ah,
fighter.
so alas, you're telling me that my
Ancestors-
relatives were not pirates
They were
after
probably
all.
freedom
They were
fighters.
what?
They were
Emancipators,
fighters.
freedom fighters.
They were emancipating all those stores they were looting.
oh
No,
boy.
no, I'm not. Let's get back to the reality.
That
We're not in
went- that went
Seattle.
bad fast.
We're not in Seattle today.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's get back to the issue here. One of the things that we need to follow in terms of what's going on right now, as I said, are these resignations of high-level military commanders. I mentioned Southern Command because the Southern Command is the part of the military that is in charge of all of Latin America. All of Latin America. Now, the head of Southern Command, in this case, this Admiral Halsey,
Admiral Halsey
His
notified me.
yeah, his responsibility is for all kinds of control over the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps in Latin America. Any kind of a war, large-scale invasion, would fall under Southcom's responsibility. So as we're talking about the possibility of getting into a war with Venezuela, we'll talk about that in a minute. But as we're talking about that, the guy who would normally be in charge of that whole operation has suddenly resigned. And that's after less than 1 year in office.
How did he get that job?
Well, normally they get he's not a political appointee.
he's
These
not
are
appointed.
military. He's an admiral.
Okay.
He's a
So he's been a long time been doing this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
and-
all of a sudden he's like, I'm
and
done.
actually Halsey.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now you also had in August, which was not long ago, end of August, you had a firing by Secretary Hegseth of Mr. Lieutenant General Krause, who was the director of DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. Now that was a sudden snap of the fingers decision. You're out of here. And the reason, apparently, why, now Defense Intelligence Agencies like the CIA, it's the military's version of CIA. It's like in Russia, you have the KGB, and then you have the GRU. The GRU is the military intelligence for Russia. These are very important positions, and
Is that a possibility? Military intelligence?
yeah, no, there is.
It's an oxymoron.
Yeah, no,
I know. I'm only kidding. I say that back to my 16-year-old rebellious hippie self.
Yeah.
I actually no. I have
Yeah.
great admiration. Remember, I sang at West Point and other military installations. I'm pro the military,
Yeah.
but I'm not pro-war. But I
Right.
am pro-military.
And that's I like that point, a distinction. And a lot of people in the military are not pro-war. This is something I'm not going to challenge Hegseth on his changing the name of the DoD to the DOW, but
What, Department of War as opposed to the Department of what?
defense.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, I know. But
You like
that's-
the war?
Yeah,
I like the war.
see.
Well,
Well,
it is more menacing.
Well, yeah, it's more.
This
it's
is
like,
the Department
this
of
is what we're
Defense.
doing, yeah.
This is the Department of
listen,
War,
the
sucker.
United States sends 8 times more than any other country in the world on. The United States spends 8 times more than any other country in the world on defense. We have almost a
You
trillion.
know why that is, don't you?
No, listen
It's
to me.
because we got a lot of guys making
Listen
graft
to
from
me.
the politicians.
We have almost $1 trillion defense budget. $1 trillion.
I need to start making Tommy guns or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
know
you
what I mean?
do. Yeah. Anyway, the point being that in the United States, when it talks, it has a enormous impact because it has a very strong military. So. We don't need to sit there and flex our muscles out there in front of everybody to show that we are powerful. They know we're powerful. The rest of the world knows we're powerful. And calling it Department of War, you could call it Department of Pigeons. It wouldn't matter. They would still fear the United States and respect the United States because we are a powerful military.
Yeah, a little interruption here. Jill, does that picture look good with me looking at him like this, or better when I'm looking at the camera like this?
Do the other way.
Okay, this is how it is taking me now, and then that's when I look at the camera, so I could have him move that camera over to there.
Yes, I would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Doolin, they came in here last night and they moved my camera. Could you move it back, please?
Yeah.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now also I just mentioned General Kraus, DIA director. He was fired. Now why was he fired? Because the DIA reached the conclusion. This is in August. The DIA reached the conclusion that the attack that Trump is bragging about the B-2 bombers attacking
Thank you,
Iran.
Thank you, to
Iran. Pay attention. The B-2
We're back
bombers.
in school again, Palmer.
The B-2 bombers that were dropping bombs in Iran were not very effective in getting rid of the nuclear capacity of the Iranians. That's what the Defense Intelligence Agency concluded based on their intelligence, military intelligence. So what happened is Hegseth said, well, that's contradicting what Donald Trump is saying. Donald Trump is saying, we took them out, we destroyed them, they're powerless now, and they're on their knees. And therefore, if you're saying something that contradicts my boss, Donald, you're out of here. Now think
I think
about
we need
that.
to be a little flexible here and a little teachability, right?
Well, I'm trying to explain to you and the audience, we've got a problem in Washington.
We
When
got a
you are
problem in River City.
firing,
We got a problem in River
when
City.
you
Yes,
are
we do.
when you are firing people for bringing you the truth because you don't like the truth when you bring it, that's not
You
a
don't
good.
like the truth when you bring it, or someone else brings it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not a good situation.
Do you remember 76 trombones? We got trouble here in River City. We got
76
trouble. 7 trombones
trombones
in
lead
the
the
big
orchestra,
parade. That's my favorite
the
show as a kid.
110.
76 trombones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and also also at the same day that he fired General Kraus of DIA, Defense
Yeah,
Intelligence
yeah.
Agency, he also fired a Rear Admiral Sands, who was a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, and also a.
Why do they call him a rear admiral? So because everybody's looking at his butt as he's walking
No,
ahead of
no,
them or
that's just
something?
He's working in the rear.
Yeah, no,
Working in the
that's not
rear.
it. It's just the.
Yeah, but a great leader works in the front.
Yeah.
Look at Patton. You know why they were behind Patton? You see your boss going up to the front line, you go, hoorah! All right, I'm right behind you.
There's that.
Okay, well, this guy, believe it or not, these Mr. SEAL Sands, he knows more than sitting in an office somewhere. You
Let me
know,
ask you this: you're 73 or 4.
yeah.
Okay.
So what?
So why? No. So if I was in the government, I'm going to call you up and say, hey, professor here, David Hunter. You worked with us as a diplomat for quite a few years. We'd like to call you back in because now you're seasoned. You lived in all these different, you lived in Ukraine, you lived in, South Korea. Why don't we bring you back in now? Now that you're seasoned, your wisdom would even be greater.
Yeah, but-
Wouldn't they be smart to bring in
he would-
white-haired guys like you?
Yeah, but Hegseth wants guys that can do 100 push-ups and climb ropes.
Which is also important if you're
Yeah,
a
yeah,
if
no,
you're,
that's
you
it,
know,
but I'm not
I-
talking
I-
about. I'm
I
talking about for
explained-
the
I
brain
explained this.
power.
But
No,
yeah,
the
he's
brain
talking
power.
about the
And I
the
explained-
intelligence. If you will.
I explained before that the although I admire the concept of having a robust, athletic-looking military, and he was talking to these generals and saying, "Oh, anybody that's a fat general, get out of here. I don't want you because you're overweight." Okay, that's what he was saying.
Well, he'd probably fire me as a talk host.
he would
right?
probably fire you if
There
you were a
go.
general.
You're
could've-
overweight, big mouth. Stop using that mouth to eat and talk instead.
Yeah. No, so the reality is, and the irony is, in the United States, 60% of Americans are morbidly obese. 60%. This is terrible.
know.
Okay.
Nobody in my family was ever overweight.
Yeah.
What this is there's been a conspiracy, and it's what they've done is those the fats, the
Would you like to
trans
go
fats.
down that rabbit
No,
hole
we're
with
not
me?
going to go down
Trans
there.
fats,
Not
I'm
today.
telling you.
Not
Okay.
today.
Not today.
Don't
but-
even start with
no,
that.
but-
But you are not wrong.
But what I'm trying to point out here is
I'm addicted to sugar.
that
you are.
that the Hegseth, in my view, I criticized him a couple of weeks ago when he made that announcement about he had this group of 800 generals, and he talked to the 800 generals and said, "You guys have to
Okay,
do
but
this
let
and
me
do
ask
that."
you. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Don't you kind of agree that we shouldn't have fat ass generals?
I don't think that's relevant. I think that's.
I do. You know what?
I'd rather have a smart general.
Bob Dylan's my favorite poet. Okay, He
Yeah.
looks like a poet. One time I saw him gaining a little jowls. Now he's in his mid 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, but he got a little chubby, you know. And here I'm talking to the pot calling the kettle black. But anyway, he was gaining a little weight. He didn't quite look, you know. You're going to be a poet. Like this is why I got to lose weight because I'm a poet. And you know, poets need to look hungry. Well, you know what? If I got a general who's fat and sitting there telling me what to do, look. I went to do a show. They flew me up on a Navy plane to go to where do they train the Navy? The plebes.
Annapolis.
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 So they flew me up, you know, and they had me do a bunch of interviews up there. So I got there. Bill Clinton was the president at the time.
Right.
So I get there and I had lunch with 5,000 plebes, which, I mean, and the plebes are not allowed to speak to you unless spoken to first. It's really amazing.
yeah.
Anyway, so
how they do it.
Clinton had just admitted to this lying about Monica Lewinsky and stuff. Now, here's this great big picture of Clinton and Gore, big as this room, as you walk into this, the biggest lunch room I ever saw in my life. And this one boy had run that morning, but he had lied to his officer that he'd run the track 11 times. He'd only done it 8 because he got tired out. But finally he came forward and admitted, I exaggerated. He said, pack your stuff. You're out of Annapolis forever. His whole life ruined from one morning lying one day about going around the track, not as long as he said he was. And yet then I'm seeing a picture of the chief, of Commander-in-Chief, who's just admitted to lying.
The problem with that is, you know, most of our politicians are liars. That's the problem. You don't find, you know, Bush is a liar.
But that-
Trump,
Can I
It gets
point
more-
out one thing about the admirals and everything? I've one name for you.
Yeah.
Admiral Rachel Levine, Health and Human Services Director. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who dressed up like the girl?
Yes,
Yeah, oh,
overweight, tranny, trying to tell the rest of America that they should mutilate their children. Okay, that was our latest Health and Human Services Admiral Rachel Levine. Overweight,
Well, he's history.
in a wig. Or maybe it's not a wig. I don't know, but just saying.
So that's why I know we're not supposed to, you know, we shouldn't judge a person, but in
Right.
the military,
But in the
you
military,
should be
yeah.
sharp, and even if you're an older guy, you know.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
I
despicable.
mean,
Health
I came
and
from a
Human
meeting last night.
Services.
I was the
Yeah.
oldest guy in the room with about maybe 30 men, and one guy said he might be the oldest, and I said, "How old?" He said, 64. I said, 72. So, you know, but you know, they were all, you know,
Buff.
these guys. Are
Buff, that's the term.
And I woke up this morning saying, da 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 da, you know.
Yeah.
You're still alive.
When we talk about buff, you ain't.
Hey, you want to start pointing fingers here, there?
Dude.
Hey, I play tennis 3 times a week. Yeah.
Oh.
That's good for you.
Yeah.
But what about your knees?
Yeah, I got
Because I started taking lessons,
Yeah.
and within a month I had to quit because my knees
I
started
know.
popping.
You got to be careful the way you proceed.
And
with
even that new
stuff.
thing that everybody's playing. What's my
Same
friend
thing,
David?
pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Do you play pickleball?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
I
a
don't
baby
because
You
it
need to
hurts.
meet my friend David.
All right, let's get back to
He's coming
Venezuela.
up. He's my
Venezuela.
lifetime friend.
Venezuela.
He plays. You need to learn
Red.
pickleball.
Right, Venezuela.
His wife died
Red.
8 years ago of
Oh, you
cancer.
told me about him.
Yeah, you'd like him.
Okay, Venezuela.
Well,
So my
you will.
point is, on
Great human being.
the change of power in the Pentagon, there are some concerns. You're taking out people like you know, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the head of the Southcom, the head of Special Naval Warfare. That's this Mr. Sands.
So you're
Naval-
mad that he fired the fat guys?
The last guy that I was talking about, Milton Sands, Admiral Milton Rear Admiral Milton Sands. He, as a Navy SEAL, he was in charge basically of the what's called the Navy SEAL.
Now that guy's not overweight. You're not.
I know he's not, and he was fired the same day.
Have you been to the
Elite.
SEAL Museum?
I have not.
Oh, it's right down
Where
the
is
street
it?
here.
Oh, really?
You need to go.
Oh, we gotta go. Yeah.
He was fired the same day Mr. Krause, General Krause, was fired.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Navy SEAL guy, Mr. Sands, he's in charge of direct action, counterterrorism, special reconnaissance, and non-conventional warfare. Okay, all of these things that are likely to be involved in a war in Venezuela. You know, now I want to talk about if you're going to fight a war, because you know Trump is, in effect, he is the commander in chief of the military, and he's also the president.
Right.
Does that allow him to launch a war or a covert op against a foreign government like Mr. Maduro in Venezuela? Maduro is the president right now. Trump has called him a narco terrorist. Now, if
Why
you
is he so after this guy?
Well, an interesting point.
Conjecture on your part? please?
Yeah, but let's stick to the. I want to get to the ground facts first before you change subjects. The reality
Me?
is
Change subject.
what I'm talking about now is the war powers under covert action. The president has the power to engage in covert action, but he has to issue a finding, and the finding has to be provided to Congress's Intelligence Committee within 48 hours of the finding being issued. And the finding has to be written. It's a written finding, and it has to be decided that we have found that because of such and such, this action must be taken, this covert action. Trump has ordered covert action by the CIA. It's already all over the news for the CIA to engage against Venezuela. Now, first of all, when it's all over the news, it's not covert, okay? So that by itself is a total failure, a collapse of this whole system. So now what you have, is, and did he issue a finding to Congress's Intelligence Committee? That would be the first question. You're a reporter. You need to be asking that question. And all of your reporter friends need to be asking that question. Did Trump issue a finding for this intelligence that ordered the CIA to engage in what's called lethal action against Maduro?
But wait a minute, does the CIA have soldiers that are capable of lethal action?
Well, actually, the CIA works in tandem with the Special Ops Command.
Okay.
That's what they do,
Okay.
Special Ops.
So they tell them what to do.
Well, they work in coordination. In fact, these commanders that have been fired, some of them actually had oversight over the CIA. The Southcom, which I was talking about, this first guy, Admiral Halsey, he has responsibility for coordinating.
Admiral Halsey,
He
no
has
divide me.
He has the responsibility for overseeing Army, Navy, Air Force, and other military and non-military components of a military action. So he oversees the CIA in their covert actions connected to a military operation.
Okay.
Okay, working hand in hand with, it's what's called Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC.
Okay.
Joint Special Operations Command.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, okay, JSOC. So they all work together in this. And so did a President Trump order or issue a finding for a covert action, a covert attack? And that would be based, again, on the fact that can we conclude that Maduro is actually a narco-terrorist? Now, Trump waved his wand and said, oh, I'm declaring that Maduro is a narco-terrorist and that Venezuela, under his regime, is working with Tren del Agua to smuggle drugs in with the intent of poisoning and undermining our democratic society. That's what his argument is.
Sure.
Now, is that a valid set of facts? Or is that just something that Trump is waving his wand and saying, I declare? You could declare anybody a terrorist, okay? I could declare you a terrorist. You could
Okay,
declare
now,
me a
you
terrorist.
always need to look beyond Trump and what you think the appearance is. Because remember, he's always in negotiation mode. He's 8 steps ahead of most of the average people.
That's
The
true.
guy is a brusque, the guy is defiant, but the guy is also a genius. When it comes to negotiating, getting things done, he's way ahead. If you were to think of it that way, what is he up to with this guy? Because if he takes this guy out of office, who's going to replace him? Somebody worse?
Well, you're right about that. And I argued last week on the show, if you remember and paying attention, that the Secretary of State, Maduro, who is I'm Secretary of State Rubio.
Rubio.
I'm glad Maduro's not a secretary.
Yeah,
of
not
State.
Secretary
really.
of State Rubio.
How'd that happen?
I'm loving
I don't
Rubio,
know.
by the way.
They both
I heard it on Red Palmer's show. Must
they
be
they
true.
both have O at the end, you know.
It's
Rubio,
AI.
Maduro.
It's AI.
Okay.
Hey, that'll be the new thing. It's AI.
Yeah. Anyway, so Rubio is by his historical background a neoconservative. You asked me last
I've
week.
met
what is
him,
a
and I
neoconservative?
really like him.
I
Neo-
really like him. yeah.
Anyway, neoconservatives, they are essentially in favor of taking U.S. into military adventures abroad. That's part of neoconservatism. It's the bedrock of neoconservatives. They like that. John Bolton would be a
So
neoconservative.
they're warmongers?
They're warmongers. Yeah, they're warmongers.
no.
Yeah. So Rubio comes from that background. Now he has changed his stripes a little bit and said, "Well, I'm not quite as warmongerish as I was." But so there are lots of people of that group that would like to see Venezuela with regime change. regime change. Maduro out, replace him with somebody who's friendly, like
Never a good idea.
like Maria Karina. Maria Karina.
Maria Karina.
Maria Karina is the one
Karina.
Is she the one that won the Nobel
She
Peace
just got the
Prize?
Is
Nobel
that the
Peace
Italiano
Prize.
or is that the
No,
Spanish?
she's, she's Venezuelan.
Venezuela.
She's the
Do they speak Espanol
She's
there?
the one that won the Nobel
Yeah.
Peace
She
Prize
won the
instead
and
of Trump.
deflected back to Trump.
And said, thank
She's a
Trump
woman of
for it.
elegance. Hey, we got
She
some
was.
really great women. By the way, we got
Yes,
some really great.
yes.
How about that president that just disappeared?
Maloney.
Of over in Italy?
Yeah, Maloney.
How she's
They
so
love
strong.
Maloney.
Hey, she can't cazzi, parecchia media.
She's
But
a real woman.
But she's pretty, and yet she still maintains her femininity somehow.
we're not gonna talk about
I think-
Italy today.
Oh,
We
no,
can-
yes, we are. Because I'm gonna talk. She's actually sexy. As a guy,
she's great.
I like her. I mean, I admire
As a
strength in
woman,
a
I
woman.
like her
When you
too.
can be strong and yet maintain
And you-
your
you
femininity.
especially-
Georgia Maloney.
You-
She's a
you-
Nazi. Hey,
you
prego.
like her black
Bella, bella.
you like her black armband. I know that's the part that you
What
like.
about
yeah.
Karen
What
Brand?
black
I don't know about that.
we don't know about the black arm.
What are you making this up?
Maloney is a fascist. F-A-S, fascist. Okay.
No, she's not.
Georgia
Yes, she is.
Maloney?
Georgia Maloney. Yes,
Who?
she is.
Who
Okay, well, how
categorized?
is she a fascist?
Yeah,
How
who?
is she a fascist?
Yeah.
You obviously.
I thought they were voted out.
You guys. Excuse me, I don't want to be insulting, but you guys are clueless if you don't know
Well,
the
clue us
history.
in, please.
Okay,
Clue
if
us
you don't
in,
know the
David.
history of Maloney and
Hold
her,
on 1 second.
what is their party's name?
Hey, the
Rich.
man with the beautiful girlfriend. The man with the beautiful girlfriend. Would you please bring me another 2 bottles of water?
Yeah. Okay, what is her party's name? Do you know? What's the party
I
of
do
Maloney?
not. All I know is I've seen her on
Okay,
TV.
well,
I think
listen,
she's sexy
listen.
and
Same.
strong.
Her party's name is Brothers of Italy. Now she's a woman, but
Well,
she's
they-
the
but-
leader of the Brothers of Italy. Now, do you know anything about the Brothers of Italy?
The brothers. No.
Well,
no, no.
sounds a little bit like the mafia.
Yeah, or how about the Muslim brothers?
It sounds like
Thank you,
like
Julian.
My pleasure.
Mussolini. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Okay, Brothers of Italy.
That-
Mussolini.
that's
Mussolini was a
Mussolini.
jackass.
Mussolini was a fascist.
Yeah, the jackass.
Okay, in fact, he is the father of fascism, modern fascism.
Oh, boy.
He has.
But
he
you're
has,
the one saying she's a fascist. She's not saying that.
Actually, some of her immediate party members, the top members
yeah.
of her party,
Yeah.
are the children or grandchildren of the fascist
Okay.
leaders that worked under Mussolini.
So you okay?
Direct-
well, you know,
Well,
you
does
know.
that mean they have the same?
So I worked under a thief
They-
once. Does that make me a thief?
They also have some of them have statues and busts of Mussolini and other fascist symbols in their garden.
Oh,
in their
no!
garden. In their garden.
You know what else? They also got Confederate flags down south. I can tell you, if I had black skin and I see a Confederate flag, I'm going to think on the back of a truck. I'm going
Okay.
to think that man hates black
Okay,
people.
anyway.
We should not have Confederate
All
flags,
right.
and we shouldn't have statues in Germany
Okay, we'll do-
of Nazi
Red,
what the guy
Red,
Hitler guy.
Right.
Boom.
We'll do another program in a week or two and talk about Italy and
Sprechen Sie
Maloney,
Deutsch.
okay? And I will give more details, but let's not
Yeah.
get off track because that's wandering off track. And I do think she's a cute prime minister. Yeah, I do. Meloni is. She's
well,
interesting.
well, cute. Now is that you saying that in
no,
a negative way?
you were
Because-
saying Jill was able to say that. And I can say the
well,
same thing.
cute kind of means.
Did I
She's-
say she's cute?
You said she was attractive or
Yeah,
something.
well,
Yeah,
that's not
I
cute.
didn't say cute.
Cute is almost pejorative because
Yes,
you're
cute is-
limiting.
you're right.
saying
Thank-
cute, it's kind of like this.
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
She is a lady. She's a lady.
She is a real woman. Is I
she's
believe
a
what I
lady.
said. Is she's a real woman?
Probably watching saying, I would like to date that Mr. Palmer. Sorry, I'm already taken, but I like to go have spaghetti with you, okay? Anyway, but
Okay.
she is really, I like
All right,
her a
let's
lot.
get
We
back-
have a lot of strong women coming
Yeah,
into
okay,
coming
let's-
up, and I
let's-
like that.
let's get back-
Strong, yet
Yeah.
maintaining the femininity.
Okay,
and
let's
you
get-
can do that, obviously.
Yeah, let's get back to the presidential powers if we're going to have a war with Venezuela. That's an important
So what
factor.
happens here? We go to war. But they
I'm not
can't-
saying
they
we're
can't-
going to, but I'm saying that we have to look at how could Trump do it? Can he do
It's
it?
no contest for us.
No. First of all, he's already declared a covert action against the president, including a proposal.
What do you think's behind that?
Well,
This
that
would be conjecture on your part.
wiping out Maduro
Okay, so we wipe out Maduro. Why did you want to get rid of Maduro if he's only bringing in
because
cocaine?
he wants to bring in Marina Karina.
Marina Karina. Hey,
Yeah.
it's a new show on Broadway.
but which are basically pro.
Marina
which are-
Karina. I'm
which
going
are-
to start working on it now.
Which are basically pro-U.S.
Marina Karina.
pro-U.S. leadership.
Yes.
Okay, and replacing a socialist or communist, however you might want to call.
Well, she's the one that got the Peace Prize, but she's
got
in
the
she's
Peace
in hiding.
She's in hiding from Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
from,
her
not Venezuela, from the dude they're talking about,
Maduro.
Maduro.
From Maduro. Yeah. From
Maduro.
Maduro. Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you were going, so anyway, clandestine action, I don't count that very likely. What about a ground invasion? What about U.S. landing troops coming in and
Well,
attacking
he
Venezuela?
seems to have that intent already.
Well, if that were to happen, that would require essentially a declaration of war under the War Powers Act.
You know what's going to happen? The average soldier down there is going to lay down his arms.
Well, you don't know that, okay?
Well, do you agree with me?
No, I
perhaps?
don't. I want to talk about that very subject because a lot of people go in with naive conceptions and then they end up getting their ass kicked, okay? And that's what can happen with us. We are thinking, oh, Venezuela's a crappy little country down in South America.
We think we're impervious.
Yeah, and
we're
the
not.
United States, you know,
We
Venezuela.
never could even take out little old Castro.
Venezuela has a big jungle. A big jungle.
A big jungle.
Yes,
Yeah.
and jungles, you know
Big
those.
lion.
You remember Vietnam? They had a big jungle. Vietnam. And we were out in that big jungle, the rice paddies, and we got our ass kicked.
Kind of like Switzerland, where the Swiss soldiers know every mountain pass. They know
Well,
every
that's why
nook
Hitler
and
wouldn't even go
cranny.
in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
They
that's-
got a fortress there, man.
Right.
Yeah,
So anyway, doing a ground invasion of Venezuela would be very expensive, very costly. It would not be something quick. You know, even though the Venezuelan army might collapse, and I would say they're probably a corrupt army, and they might not have a lot of fidelity to the leadership. But the ordinary Venezuelans would probably, a lot of them, and
What?
would go into the what's called the guerrilla movement. You'd be fighting a guerrilla army in the jungles.
Well, it is true, sadly, that the proletariat commonly go for whoever's in charge because they feel secure and he's our leader, even if he is a culprit and a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
you know,
but,
just
but on the other hand, there is the possibility, like with Marina Karina, as a legitimate
Marina
person,
Karina.
a legitimate political leader who has political support in Venezuela, that you might be able to do something what I called
Okay.
the Panama.
Okay, let's stop for
The
a second.
Panama.
Now,
Wait a minute. I want to make a point here. Don't
Oh,
interrupt
what's
me.
the point?
The point is the Panama.
The Panama is the point.
What is the Panama?
What's the Panama?
The Panama is when we replaced Noriega. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember that? We
I'm
replaced
too young.
Noriega.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
the 70s? Or the,
Yeah, that was vague.
Yeah, we replaced.
Tell us about
I
it,
was
Grandpa.
a child at the time, so let's go and look.
Okay, we
teach me,
replaced-
teach
Yeah,
me,
tell us
David.
about it, Pastor.
Tell us
We wanna
about it,
know.
Grandpa.
Okay,
Sorry,
the United States actually, Noriega was the president / dictator / general
Yeah.
of Panama.
And what year was this?
Ask Alexi what year was
What year
was Noriega
Hey
removed,
Siri, what year was Noriega
removed from
as
Panama
leader?
of Panama?
Panama. It's coming in. Oh, something's wrong. Please try again.
Okay, I'm
No, there's a problem here. My phone. I've got
okay.
somebody has snuck into my
I would
phone. It's
I would
not
say it was
sending
about
things.
1978.
Oh,
do you know?
Dula knows.
What was the question?
When was Noriega removed from Panama by the United States military? I think it was about 1978. You weren't a child.
When was Noriega?
78?
Yeah.
I was
as
13.
leader of Panama?
Oh, really?
I would call that a child.
Oh, okay. Yeah. that
Yeah,
involves-
I was having a bat mitzvah.
It's not connecting. All right.
I'm having that
I
problem.
had my
too.
bat mitzvah
You know,
in
I think we're having
1978.
problems with our connections. I think they've gotten into our systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Happening for a couple of
anyway,
days
the idea the U.S. actually removed Noriega. They sent troops
Yes,
in
yes.
and kidnapped Noriega right
Okay.
out of his presidential
Yes,
palace.
I remember the name.
But Noriega, he was a drug trafficker. He ironically,
Like this guy.
Noriega had previously worked for our CIA. He had worked for our CIA.
Drugs in the CIA. Let's talk about that.
Well, how
one,
about
shall
Osama?
we?
How about Osama bin Laden? We used to sell him
Yes, we did.
weaponry.
CIA
against the Russians.
JFK.
Yeah,
Let's
all right.
go there.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get into that.
Not.
That's this is
You
not
know,
conspiracy 101. You
See
know, we're-
this? See,
Yeah.
give me the camera here. See, this is a stupid American who works for a living, while all your politicians are in there and they're making hand over fist. How come Gore goes into office where 2 million comes out? 4 years later, 8 years later, with 102 million. How come this little girl, AOC or whatever her name is serving cocktails at a bar, and she goes in, has
They have a
$15,000.
different leader
Now she's
than
worth
you do.
$22
Rhett,
million dollars.
Rhett,
They have a different leader than
Rhett,
you
we're
do.
getting off
You
course.
go-
Stay
you're
on course.
God.
Where's my
They're
whip?
not.
Where's my whip? Stay on course.
What time is it?
It's not time yet. We got to.
We got 1 minute till
Yeah,
a
I'm
break.
trying to make. When we're almost finished with this
Okay.
topic, the issue is. I've looked into this, and there is a War Powers Act that should be. The president must submit a report to Congress. He has the authority to engage in hostilities without a declaration of war, but he has to submit a report to Congress within 48 hours
After having done it?
after having done it.
Okay.
And within 60 days, Congress can reverse his action if he has not
We
gotten
can't. They can't
congre-
really reverse it if they killed a guy.
If he's gotten congressional approval. He has to have congressional approval. That's what war powers is all about. War powers approval. But he has 60-day window that he can do stuff without Congress's approval, waiting to get Congress's approval.
And then it can be all over by then.
And that's exactly the point. That's the problem with the War Powers Act. The War
hear ya.
Powers Act does not prohibit him from
lot can
engaging
happen in
for
60
a lot
days.
can happen in 60 days. Like you can overthrow a government in 60
Yeah,
days
yeah, for
and
sure.
replace them.
Yeah, for sure.
So what we've got is the possibility that Trump could engage not in a covert action, but in an overt action of declaring war, but not getting congressional approval for it and having it over in 60 days. That's assuming that it is over in 60 days. Now, keep in mind, as I said, you invade Venezuela and you may find yourself in a long, protracted, multi-year war like Afghanistan.
Okay, so the Karina, what's her name there?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
That's the dance, right?
The idea,
Macarena,
That was the
Karina.
Macarena.
Maria Karina. The idea of Maria Karina.
We got to take a break.
The idea was if Trump were to engage that type of action and replace Maduro, he could put her in as the new president, and she would have some legitimacy.
Well, let me
Hence the reason why she said that he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Am
Yeah.
I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know why? You just look at her and listen to her for 2 minutes, and you know you get the potential of a great leader there.
That's good.
I think she's
Right.
altruistic. I
Okay.
think she's giving. I
Yeah.
think she's very
Yeah,
bright.
she proved it.
But this is what I call American imperialist adventurism. If you're trying to replace a regime and replace it with somebody you want, that's going back to the
All
bad
right,
old
gonna
days.
Take a break.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Okay. So anyway, that's Venezuela.
All right,
covered
you
there.
guys.
Bathroom break.
Yeah. So it's interesting. you know.
It is. It's very interesting. All right, you guys. So this is our behind the scenes. We're taking a break. You guys want to keep watching? Then we'll just talk during the break. Oh yeah. Well, okay. I'll let you handle the moderators. What's going on, Tool?
Oh no, you're
Okay.
okay. You're okay. You want to sit there? Just so you know, we are still live. The mics are still live.
Okay.
So even though we don't have the
Oh,
visual
okay.
up, so just everything you say to your followers is also
Okay.
going out to Rhett's followers.
Oh,
right now, okay?
that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
also on Alexa's
We're
stream,
not
so-
saying anything
Yeah.
the whole world
I
can't
know,
hear
I'm
because
just
the whole
letting you
world
know.
can hear it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what you mean by I see how this channel rolls, Opal Guy. It's I have never done this before, so this is if we roll anyway, it's by the seat of our pants. And because I have this microphone thing on for the studio, it is ruining my gimbal's ability to make my camera work look really good. But so yeah, you moderators, you guys work it out. I'm gonna let you work it out. I'm a one-woman show, but I realize now that I do need help, that my channel is growing, and my moderators are the best people in the world. So I love you guys. I know you'll work it out. Anyway, so if you're just coming on today, we are at the what's it called? Well, it's Rhett Palmer show, and this is his studio. Oh, Vero's Voice is what it's called. So we're in Vero Beach at Rhett Palmer's studio. He's been doing this show for, decades. Really cool guy. I never heard anyone say I look like David Bowie, but okay. That's a new one. Thank you. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you, guys. Oh, lots of stuff going on today. But anyway, so this is what it looks like behind the scenes of a talk show. Good morning, Auckland, New Zealand. but it's not morning for you. It's evening, right? Is it 10 o'clock in the evening? I'm gonna guess. I know it's at least 12 hours difference. So yes, and thank you for all of those who like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. My channel is growing, so we've got lots of new people on and lots of trolls and bots. So please ignore the nastiness, ignore the trolls, ignore the bots. And Sandy, have a good time playing pickleball. We'll see you later, my dear friend. Hello, Sylvia from Canada. Let's see, it's 3 a.m. JM in New Zealand, right? Wow, that's pretty late. Hi, Steve. So I'm Jill. I am your host of the Beach Report. I've been doing this show for 10 years now, and I have been on this show, the Rhett Palmer Show, actually, for these 10 years. Although if you talk to Rhett, it's been more like 20, but his memory. No, joking. You guys know we love Rhett Palmer, and I've been doing this show, but always remote, always on the phone. So this is the very first time that I'm actually in the studio, and it is super fun. It is way more fun to be in the studio with Rhett and David than to be on the phone with them. So I'm really enjoying myself, and I hope you guys are having fun too. And I know I'm so sorry that my camera work is not to its usual snuff because I'm on this microphone so everybody can hear me. Rhett's people, my people, we can all hear the Beach Report right now. And I know there's a break, so I'm not sure what else I can hear. But anyway, it's 10:05, which is here in Florida, just as it is in New Hampshire, Aussie. And the Beach Report is about a lot of different things. Eat, live, sleep, repeat. I love your name. We talk about everything, but usually we're on the beach because I'm obsessed with the beach. So we go to the beach every day that we possibly can. But today we're in the studio on Vero Beach. So we're still at the beach, but we're in a studio of a talk show, a long-running talk show here in Vero Beach. Rhett Palmer is greatly loved in this area, and he's got this big billboard. I never saw it before. I've never been here before, although I've been on the show for at least a decade, but I've never actually seen the studio, so it's super exciting. Sicily must have amazing beaches, Alan. I've never been to Sicily, but I always wanted to go. Hey, LaDonna, I know, so much fun, right? So those of you who are new to the Beach Report, I am an official card-carrying journalist, although not the kind of journalist that you're used to seeing who does these very polished shows and gets paid a lot of money and everything is studio perfect. With me, what you see is what you get. I am one of the first Gen Xers. I am an old school journalist. I can lay out a newspaper. I love the beach, but live in New York, so only get to enjoy it a few months of the year. Understood. This is why I moved to Florida. I used to live in Pittsburgh. I was with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for like 15 years at least, and I know what it's like to live up north, and that's why I live in Florida, so understand. And you can now go to the beach every day, so I hope you will like and subscribe and consider joining my members group where we do go to the beach all the time. Yeah, walking barefoot on the beach is my jam, so I love it. Anyway, we are here in Vero Beach today on this show. Later on today, we will go to the beach, but that'll be later. It is the Beach Report.
Look
so.
at that nice tan of hers too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes, I actually take
You
it.
walk every day on the beach?
I take a dedicated sun bath every
do you?
day.
Okay.
I believe that the sun. So
You get vitamin D.
Vitamin D, baby.
Yeah.
I believe that the sun is one of the most important nutrients that you can have. I
Right.
think it.
At least 20 minutes. Of
yes,
sunlight.
yes,
it's
at
good.
least 20 minutes of
I have to get
sunlight.
outside.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to get outside.
And there he is,
There he is,
mayor of the
looking over the shoulder.
airwaves
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Mayor of the Airways is ready to go. They're talking to people that you want to know. Face to face or one on one. Get together and have some fun with Rhett Palmer.
I love it.
All
He's
right.
got his own
All right.
jingle. That's
Well, we got some
perfect.
serious stuff coming up. The
Yeah,
next
tell you
question.
what, when you
Excellent.
have your own jingle, Then you have arrived in light. There's only one problem now. With AI, anybody can have a jingle in a matter
Oh
of 30
gosh,
seconds.
it's true. But you
We
know
have a new
what?
show called The Vero's Voice now, which Doolin hosts. It's a magazine strictly about Vero. Next thing you know, I'm watching on the internet, he's got his own jingle. Hey. Hey, what are
Only
you
took
doing?
me about 30 seconds.
Written by
with
AI.
What'd you say, Doolin?
Only took me about 30 seconds.
Took you 30
That's
seconds.
How long did it
crazy.
take
Write
you
the
to get
jingle.
the updated jingle of my jingle?
About 30 seconds.
See, I had a jingle for years. I was done in California. You know, they got this guy who does jingles on the internet. I used to get like between $3,000 and $5,000 for a jingle.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no $3,000 to $5,000 for a jingle now because they can, you know.
That job's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Pardon me?
let's.
Took our jabs.
Okay, are we back on live?
They took our jobs. They did there. They took our jobs.
Are we
Is he
back?
saying there?
Are we live yet?
Yeah, we're live there. What's it says you
never
want,
stopped
huh? You
being live.
troublemaker, you.
I didn't hear
Former
the jingle.
diplomat.
Normally we have a
Oh,
jingle.
you want to hear the
Yeah,
jingle?
I
Here,
wanna hear
we'll
the
play
jingle.
Okay, you ready?
And now, the most trusted name in radio, serving the Treasure Coast for over 30 years, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
The most trusted name in radio. See, you write it down on paper,
Yeah.
they'll say anything you pay them to say.
Well, there's that. There's that.
You know, David Walsh did that for years. Remember he did that?
Yeah.
That was the guy with the big deep. He lived to be 98 years of age.
God willing, we will.
Yeah. Okay.
Started running when he was 71.
Number
Well,
two.
walking fast. Excuse me, not running.
Number two.
Okay, number 2. Buckle my shoe. Why is Netanyahu funding the arming Palestinian criminal gangs in Gaza? Well, funding, what do you mean he's funding? Hold on. In June 2, 2025, Bibi openly admitted he was backing criminal gangs in Gaza. Well, that was when he was trying to take down Hamas, I guess. Yasser Abu Shabab. Look, it's getting pretty bad when I can name these names well.
Yeah.
Yasser Abu Shabab. I actually said that right. Wow, you've come a long way, baby. Okay, one of the gang leaders is running a militia named Popular Forces of Palestine, backed by Israel, while also engaged in criminal actions. Why is Netanyahu backing these Arab criminal gangs in Gaza? Well, because he wants to take out Hamas.
Well, you know,
They're the
this,
guys that are getting shot in the back of the head right now, right?
you're right. That you picked that up exactly, and that's something I want the audience.
good.
I want the audience out there to understand. You know, everybody was making this big kerfuffle about
Kerfuffle. That's the word of the day.
Yeah.
Kerfuffle.
about the
Right.
Palestinian
Kerfuffle.
about the Palestinian Hamas exercising brutality and ruthlessness by shooting people, Palestinians, quote unquote, in the back of the head. You saw this picture
Not
of,
good.
of 6 or 8 of them there, and the guys standing there with the Hamas shooting them in the back of the heads. Those people that were shot were not just average Palestinians wandering the streets.
Part of these gangs.
They were part of these criminal gangs that are being funded and armed by the Israeli
That's
government.
perhaps why Trump got upset because he's friends with Netanyahu.
Actually-
Netanyahu was very upset that they got.
Actually, Trump was not upset. I admire Trump in some regards. He and his people who inform him must have informed him correctly. He said that so Hamas is taking out a couple of gangs that were very bad and killed a number of gang leaders. That doesn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's Trump's exact words. Okay, he
It's
is
the same
accepting.
thing we did to the Viet Cong who helped out our military.
Okay.
And we left them behind.
Let's
when
not.
they
No, let's
yeah.
not move. This has nothing to do with Vietnam. And you got.
No, you're not listening. You're not listening. I said the way we treated the people that helped us, and we left those Viet Cong behind to be taken hostile.
Yeah,
by
that's
those
totally
people.
wrong. It's
Totally wrong. We should
wrong.
have. There should be honor among thieves, as they say.
No, the
In other
point.
words, when-
I want to explain to you and the audience and Jill exactly what's going on because the press is not reporting on this stuff very clearly. People do not understand. Most people are saying, "Oh, here's an example of Hamas." The Israelis pull back and Hamas comes in and starts killing people to reestablish their power. That's what
Well,
the
that's-
argument.
well, they are.
No, they aren't. No, they aren't.
Well, they're killing these
Rhett,
gangs.
Rhett, listen to me. The gangs they're killing are criminals. Okay, the
You
gangs.
just told me Netanyahu is the one behind them monetarily to really fight against Hamas.
Actually, it's not even Netanyahu. It's the Shin Bet, the Shin Bet, which is the equivalent of our FBI. And the guy who recommended this policy, his name is Ronan Bar, who was the former director of the Shin Bet, Ronan Bar. Okay, Ronan Bar now has been fired since the complications or implications of his failure to protect Israelis from the October 7th attack. They basically have,
Did they blame him?
They
for
blamed
it?
him, yeah, they blamed him.
Oh.
And partly because Shin Bet is responsible for Gaza, for the Palestinians in Gaza.
And did he not see it coming? Did he ignore the signs?
Yes,
Well,
and,
it took them 20 hours to respond to
yeah,
the people
no,
in the kibbutz being
right?
killed. What the hell was
good,
with that?
good point.
we talked about that last week. It was called accountability.
Suspicion.
We talked about accountability for the attack of 9/11. I mean, of not their 9/11, which is October
Yeah,
7th.
right.
And the reality is, Shin Bet and Ronan Bar were supposed to be on the job, monitoring this attack before it happened and preparing for it, and they weren't. And Ronan Bar did take the responsibility for it himself. Military intelligence also, especially Unit 8200, you may have heard of them. Unit 8200, that's part of the military intelligence from the IDF.
Okay.
And they also were supposed to be monitoring, and they and some of the generals in charge of IDF took responsibility for the failure of the 9/11 attack. This is something that hasn't been investigated and should be. Even I saw on, I think it's the Times of Israel or somebody yesterday or the day before was just saying,
Do you read that online too?
Wait a minute. Are we now tying this guy Barr to 9/11?
no, not 9/11. I'm using.
Oh, you're saying it's like the 9/11.
It's like 9/11.
Okay.
The October 7th is a equivalent of 9/11. We were not prepared for 9/11. We had intelligence failures that prevented us.
Definitely.
The same thing happened in Israel on October 7th. Okay.
Well, it was a holiday, but why did it take them over 20 hours to respond?
No, it's not.
Very suspicious.
Not just the question of why did it take them so long to respond. You know, that's
Why
like,
did it happen
Why
in
did
the
it
first
happen? Why did they allow it to happen? How did
Because
it
it
happen?
was well planned. Everyone could see
It was
that.
planned so well that they had
So
actually.
so the conjecture is that, some of us have actually thought that Netanyahu was somehow involved in funding that, secretly, surreptitiously sending over funds to actually fatten up Hamas so they would do something like this. So then he has the excuse to go and
Well,
says,
I don't wanna
that's
get-
it, you want to annihilate
Okay.
us, we will annihilate
Okay,
you.
I-
mean, look
all
at
right.
the deprivation.
Rhett,
Why did we
Rhett.
have to attack,
Rhett, that's a conspiracy theory which may have some legs. It's hard to tell until it's been investigated. The problem is nobody is investigating how that failure happened. There has been a few. I mentioned last week on the show our U.S. Military. Actually, I think it was West Point had conducted a study a year ago of what were the failures of that October 7th.
The problem is we have
attack.
all these billionaires involved today. Like they're saying now, who's the guy that they say gave $3 million, paid $3 million in hourly wages to people to go out for this anti-King Day?
Oh, right.
Who's
Like
that guy?
George Soros.
Okay,
George Soros.
all right.
Because you got to look. I'm sitting here struggling for a living. I get the call, Mr. Obama. Mr. Soros says there will be a check for $5 million, cashier's check, if you will take the left-hand side and report as we ask you to. You can now in your 70s retire and have a good life.
Okay, you're off.
You know,
off
and
track.
kinda like,
Okay, this is off track.
That's going to be a hard thing to resist. Is
Rhett.
your soul for
I
sale?
know you'll
Rhett, you're off
resist
track.
it.
Let's go
A
back
lot
to
of people
the.
are being bought and sold.
I
we
wanna
don't
No,
know
you
about.
cannot be that.
What I
How about when
want
you see stacks of bricks
Rhett.
being delivered at 2 o'clock in the morning in Seattle.
Okay, Rhett, we're not talking about domestic politics. This is a foreign policy show.
It's all
No,
connected,
it's not connected.
though.
It
It's
isn't.
all connected.
So what I want to point out here is that
Yes.
Netanyahu and this Ronan Bar
Yes.
were funding these so-called criminal gangs. Okay, they call them clans. That's another term for them, clans. Now the reason why they call them clans is because two of the major gangs, criminal gangs, are run by Bedouin Arabs. Bedouin Arabs. Okay, the guy
now,
that
when
you,
I was in Israel and I saw the Bedouin camps, were they Arabs or were they Israelis?
Mr. No changing of subject. Mr. Yasser Shabab,
I'm talking about
Rhett.
the Bedouins.
Rhett.
What are you talking?
Yasser Shabab, the one you talked about, and
Shabab.
pronounced correctly, Shabab.
Shabab.
He's a Bedouin.
Okay.
Okay, Yasser Shabab.
But is he an Arab Bedouin or is he an
He's
Israeli
an Arab
Bedouin?
Bedouin. He's an Arab Bedouin.
How do you know?
I know he's an Arab Bedouin. He's living in Gaza. Okay, he's living in Gaza.
oh,
okay. Now, under those circumstances, the Israeli. Here's a report. You're a journalist. Israeli
You are.
security.
We just had it. It's
Israeli
official now.
security official told the Israeli newspaper Hagoroth that the Popular Forces, that's the name of this group run by Shabab, primarily focuses on smuggling, prostitution, and extortion. Okay, this is the group of
Well, you know, you got to pay the rent somewhere.
yeah. So this is the group that Ronan Bar and Netanyahu are funding and giving arms to in order to fight against Hamas.
Oh, yikes.
You see the problem there?
That's gross.
It's gross. It's gross.
Well,
Look,
war
I
makes for
have the
strange
concerns.
bedfellows.
Hey,
Wait.
we know, for instance, that the former prime minister of this is me, the former prime minister of Israel. What was his name again?
Which
Before
one?
Netanyahu.
Alexander the Great. No.
No,
Netanyahu's been around for 20 years on and off.
But the
Yeah.
one before him. Do you remember the name?
It's been a long time. I don't remember it right offhand.
Well, you have
You
situations
guys
even like
know who was the former prime minister of Israel? The one that was very deep
Ask
in
Newman.
bed with Epstein.
who was the former prime minister
Yeah.
before
Oh, now we
Netanyahu?
know.
Yeah, that's Barak.
Israel.
Yehud Barak.
Ehud
Barak.
Barak, exactly. So that right there tells me that Israel has been involved in some really shady stuff, and I'm not saying Israel as in the country, but as in the leaders.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was involved with Epstein, and there's lots of rumors about Epstein and Mossad, of course. And
Let me ask you this. Now
yeah.
you're a journalist, and
Yeah.
we got a little break for you. Isn't it? It is a PR nightmare what Netanyahu has done.
yeah.
I mean, now the
Yeah.
Jews are being hated.
Yeah.
First of all, you got the people
Yeah,
in America.
it's a problemo.
Young people in America are not being educated about World
No,
War II.
not
They have
at
no
all.
idea
They have
about the
no
abuse and the horror, the
Unfortunately.
demonic horror of the Jews of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming in and they're pro-Palestinian. And then you've got gay people pro-Palestinian.
Yes.
And you're gay, you'll be thrown off of a building in there. What are they crazy?
insane.
You know?
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
well, let's
Okay.
get back. Let's get back to this
And
issue.
now back to the real show.
Yeah. Now, but besides that, was one of the groups. This Mr. Shabab, who is
Mr.
was
Shabab.
yeah.
It's a fun name to say.
Shish
Shabab.
kebab. Shish kebab.
Shish kebab.
Call him shish kebab. Yeah.
You better watch out. We'll put him on the fire.
And there was another guy named Hossam Al Astal. Okay. Now
Did
Hossam.
they make up these names just to
No.
to give us trouble?
No, Hassan al Astal, he is also a Bedouin, and his group,
Is he an Arab Bedouin or an
Arab
Israeli?
Bedouin, yeah,
Oh,
in
okay.
Gaza, yeah, and he's also being funded by Israel, and his group is called the Counterterrorism Strike Force. That's what they're calling themselves, Counterterrorism Strike Force. Okay, they have allegations of drug smuggling. He was actually arrested by Hamas. What's called the Interior Ministry in Gaza is run by Hamas.
Did they kill him?
No, he was held and he got loose. So he's now out there being
No,
funded.
he got loose or he was loose?
I don't know how he got loose. Maybe the Israelis rescued him. Who knows? Anyway,
Well, we want to know the dramatic
yeah.
details.
So anyway, he established an armed gang in late 2024,
Yeah.
and it operates primarily in areas controlled by Israel. And he's a drug smuggler and a criminal like the one that I just mentioned. Shish kebab was same thing. So what you've got is you've got these internal groups that are armed, many of them operating in safety out of the Israeli-controlled IDF areas of Gaza, and they are attacking Hamas. Now, at the same time, Israel is saying under this new terms of this phase 2 of this new peace deal, oh, Hamas should disarm. They should put down their weapons, turn them over, give them up. Well, what about these gangs? Are they going to give up their weapons? If you're not, then guess what happens? They get slaughtered by the gangs. The Hamas people get slaughtered by the gangs, and the gangs who are Israeli-backed take over Gaza.
Okay.
Now that's not a good situation.
I don't know, because Hamas is really bad.
Well, I don't think, the question is do you turn over? That's why we need to be focused in terms of this surrender of weapons for Hamas. It's unrealistic. Let me put it this way, and experts have all agreed with this conclusion. It's unrealistic while these gangs of Israel that are armed and are criminal are running all over in Gaza. It's unrealistic for Hamas to disarm. They would be essentially committing suicide by handing over their weapons.
You know what the problem
So-
with the world today is?
Yeah.
we're all sitting here raising my blood pressure for stuff that's happening. You know, I don't want to know when somebody stepped on a nail in Russia and hurt his foot and
That's
had to
not
be run to
stepping
the
on a
hospital.
nail. This is a major part. This is a major part of the what's called peace
I
deal.
realize,
Red,
but I don't
the
know.
peace deal. Okay, you've heard about that. The peace deal. The great
You know,
Middle
I
East
was
peace
made
deal.
to procreate. I was made to eat and defecate, and that's
think,
about all.
and
That's
think.
a little bit, but you know, most humans really are not
No,
nearly
I
as
think
bright
the
as
ones
they'd
that
like
listen,
to think they are.
the ones that listen
We're all
to
just
this
scraping
show,
around.
all of
know.
Jill's audience are very bright people that pay attention.
Good
And you know what
point.
I, you know what
point.
I don't like?
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that we flippantly, like I flippantly, this morning spoke about them getting shot in the back of the head. And as soon as I said that, I thought, how does my Father in heaven feel about that? That I'm saying, oh yeah, he shot some guys in the back of the head.
Yeah,
These are
that's
real
not
human beings,
nice.
real men. Maybe a man that could have been my good friend. They were shot in the back of the head. I talk about these things so flippantly. I talk about people starving in Gaza, which bothers me, and the children. And yet it goes out of my mouth, and I go, well, where am I having lunch today? And I don't know. Maybe I have Jewish guilt, as they say, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh,
Okay, well, listen,
you
Red,
know?
this show's not about you, okay? That's the problem. We're
But
not,
it's got his name on it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah.
say.
Well, I think we need to bring God into this because I want to know what He's thinking about all this stuff. You
okay,
know?
what we do need to understand is that this is a far more complicated
My
situation
word.
than just Hamas. Israel is playing with fire. In fact, you even had some of the high-level Israeli government officials saying that this was a ludicrous proposal to be backing weapons. Lieberman, who's the former Israeli defense minister, Lieberman said the Israeli government sending weapons to a group of criminals who identify with ISIS at the instructions of Prime Minister Netanyahu. That's what Lieberman said. Because these gangs, some of them actually have some ISIS ties to them
know,
as well.
I can't keep up with all this stuff.
Well, I know you
a
can't.
lot.
I'm overwhelmed.
So what I'm trying to explain is roll back this PR baloney that Hamas is just shooting innocent Palestinians as an exercise of their power to
Oh,
recontrol.
I never believed that.
Well, that's what everybody in the modern media, the mainstream media, are saying. That's the storyline that's been given to them. The
We
reality
can't
is
trust the
Hamas
mainline
is
No, we
media.
can't.
Hamas is trying to get rid of these Israeli-backed criminal gangs that are running around there. What Hamas needs to do, and what we need to help do, is establish an international security force to go into Gaza. That's the next step. Now, that international security force, I want to talk a little bit about that, because that's supposed to be an international force. And you've got countries like UAE and Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
It's all such a mess. You know what we need? We just need Messiah to come back and
No,
rule
listen,
and reign.
listen. The problem with the international security force is Israel is now claiming,
God help us.
Israel is claiming, I'm only going to let certain people into this international security force. They do not want Turkey in there, and they do not want Qatar in there. Believe it
How
or
about
not,
Ham?
Qatar. They do not want Turkey or Qatar. Now, the reason, Ham, I know, I get your joke. The reason they're claiming is that Qatar and Turkey are pro-Hamas. Israel is claiming that Qatar and Turkey are pro-Hamas, yes, and therefore
So,
they won't.
Well, so what did we see with all of the Arab Emirates, everybody kissing the ring of Trump? You know, it was like all the Arabs all
you
came
have to
together.
remember, Muslims are allowed to lie according to
Oh,
the Quran to
Takia,
promote what they
that's
want.
true.
Okay,
you never
all right.
can
Well,
know.
anyway, a lot of people lie. They don't
Smiling
need.
faces. Sometimes I don't tell the truth.
Okay,
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
So and also Israel is specifying that in terms of this so-called reconstruction of Palestine, that they're not going to allow the Palestinian Authority to participate as part of it. Now that represents to me a major flaw in this whole proposal for going forward. The reason why Palestinian Authority is the quote state of Israel under the United Nations, recognized under the United Nations as the state of Israel's leadership.
Okay, now, like Barry, the guy I was just up in Vermont with, what's his name? The old guy that runs, the liberal guy running for the presidency. Isn't his name Barry?
Goldwater?
No.
Guy.
Bernie.
Bernie.
Oh, Bernie Sanders. What?
Barry, not Bernie.
Yeah, you were with Bernie Sanders?
Well, he's right up there. You walk by his office right on Church
Really?
Street. Yeah, they took the whole main street.
Yeah.
They paved it anyway. And now that we finally got Bernie's name, I can't remember why I brought up his name.
Okay.
But you call him Barry.
Yeah.
Just,
Barry Goldwater
just
Sanders.
saying.
Well, he's been around so long, he needs to
I
know
know.
that.
I was like,
Well,
what?
he's the one.
All
No,
right.
I want to tell my little story here. This is a Bernie Sanders story.
Okay.
I was up there at a parade.
Yeah.
Okay, at the end of the July 4th parade, Bernie Sanders is there.
Yeah.
He's like right over there to the door, right that close to me. So this young guy comes running. This is a big lesson I learned.
Yeah.
This young guy comes running over to him with his hand extended. So Bernie extends his hand like this. In other words, like
Not even looking
he
at him.
doesn't look at the guy because he's seen who's more important that's coming up that I need to talk to rather than this guy. He shakes. He gives a perfunctory shake to this young man, 30-year-old hand. Okay, and I said, oh.
He's one of those.
No, here's the lesson. I said, there's no such thing as 1 million. There's only 1,000,000 ones. And if you can't care about one, don't
Yeah.
tell me you can care about 1,000,000
Yeah.
ones.
But I've been in
So
I've
it's a
been
very
in lots
telltale
of
sign.
I've been
When
in
you
lots
watch,
of-
I watch people.
Yeah.
I go out to lunches and dinners and things.
Okay.
And if somebody mistreats my
Yeah.
service staff, I will never break bread
Yeah.
with them again. You
Yeah.
know how you treat one says a lot about.
I've been
who
in
you are.
as
Truth.
a diplomat. I've been in receiving lines, and I've literally been there, with the ambassador and me right next to him, and all these people coming through.
And they're always nice, aren't they?
Well, and no, and the reality is, you get after you shake hands with about 50 people, and you got another 100 coming through.
I know.
It's perfunctory. It's
That's why
perfunctory.
President Trump's got bruises on his hand.
Yeah.
Because
it's
of all the
perfunctory,
handshaking. Yeah,
Well,
people
you know, when
say
I was
that.
with
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani, and I interviewed Rudy Giuliani, he was very nice to me until my equipment failed.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we did it again, him calling in on in his limousine. So then I finally get to meet him. Now I'm in a line with people who had to give a minimum of $5,000. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they had to give a gift. So I'm in line. He hasn't met me yet, so he doesn't know that I'm Rhett Palmer, the talk host he was with. So all of a sudden it's my turn to come up. He paid for, this is one, a few years ago, and he had this beautiful smile, paid a lot for that, I'm sure. Anyway, he puts one hand out, he pulls me over, gives a smile. Of course, right then I'm going, so I got a lousy look at me because I'm looking at him like, and I'm fawning all over him. And then he pulls me away. Never says hello, never says, for all he knows, I just put $5,000 in his pocket for his campaign and doesn't even say thank you.
Well, they
You
should have had a
always-
photographer there to take a picture. That would have been worth. Well, then that's what it was. You got a $5,000
Yeah, it was
photograph.
a photo op.
Yeah, you got a
And
photo.
you say
You
thank
paid
you.
$5,000 for a picture.
I've got a line
let's-
right up here
Brett,
at my radio
okay,
studio. I
let's go
promise
on.
I'll
Brett, we're
smile
running
at
out of-
every person and I'll say
Brett,
hello.
We're getting short of time.
One
Let's
thing,
go
by
on.
the way, you brought in a book report today?
I
What's
brought
this
in
all
two
about?
books.
What is
Two
this
books.
all about?
One of them, this one I recommend to everybody to read. This is called 1948 Nakba, The Expulsion of the Palestinians by Dr. Michael Palumbo.
Okay.
It is excruciating in detail, and
Yeah.
it is sad in learning about the facts. But unfortunately, the facts are there. And
Why did you bring it in?
I brought it in because a lot of people are misled by the concept of the original founding of the Israeli state, and that this was a poor little band of rebels who tried to fight against a massive Arab army. That's the story that everybody hears, about the 5 countries that attacked on the founding of Israel, and that Israel.
But you don't
and
understand.
the reality is,
we believe that God gave
okay,
this
I don't care
land-
about that.
Well, you don't care.
No.
Oh, well, watch
Okay,
out.
okay, what I'm
Lightning's coming down, boy.
What I'm trying to explain is that the myth that Israel
What
was
myth?
the myth that Israel was a poor little minority trying to establish themselves in the Palestine Authority areas. That is a falsehood.
What was it?
Well, look at the map.
Haganah. No, wait a minute. Haganah, which is the name of the Israeli army before
Haganah.
Haganah.
That's
the
where they came
Haganah.
up with Haagen-Dazs ice cream,
No,
right?
Haganah had 30,000 trained fighters, 30,000 troops.
Yeah.
Okay, the Arab states, most of them only had palace guards of about 5,000 people, if that, and they did not send their palace guard in total to come in to defend the Palestinians. They sent in what was called the Arab volunteers.
And that's in this book.
That's in this book. The
a look at that.
They sent the Arab volunteers in. Now, the Arab volunteers constituted a small number of people who were from different countries. They were not coordinated in terms of how they conducted their battles. So Israel was actually far superior in its military capacity to these Arabs. when they defeated the 5 states, it was not.
I think you should do a whole book report on it, and
No,
we'll have a
I'm-
special show.
No, I'm trying to explain to you that there's lots in this. I want people to read that book. It's a very hard book to read because it describes a lot of atrocities that the Israelis did at the time of the Nakba.
Speaking of
driving out-
atrocities, that leads us
I
right
was
into
going to
this.
say, right after the Holocaust.
Well, that's the irony of this. The irony is that Israel itself engaged in a Holocaust against the people that they tried to overthrow, that were living there. And this claim
That were occupying their land.
they were not occupying their land, Jill, because those people had lived there for 1,800 years. There was no occupation of their land, except for this biblical concept that this land belongs to me because of the title given by the Torah. Okay, and that, of course, is totally. I would call it a historical misperception. The claim that that land was given to Israel, that there was no one on the land when Israel took over the land. That's false. There were lots of people on the land, lots of people, and many of those people, as this book describes, were driven off the land. Many of them were killed, murdered, raped, mistreated in ways to frighten them to get them off the land. So that's part of the history of this conflict that most people don't know.
Yes, because you have the naivety of the Christians who believe all Jews are favored of God, and it's an untruth. If there's a whole block dedicated to buying electronics or whatever in New York City. It's run by Hasidic Jews, and they all have the yarmulkes on. So I go up there, and no one breaks one smile. No one's kind, no one's nice. Why aren't they proselytizing? Well, I have one of the world famous guys come down here. He said, why would I proselytize to you? He happens to be one of the good guys, but he said, because we have 600 rules, why would I bring you into that when you only have to obey 12 commandments? We have to obey 600 and something. Okay. So anyway, they're not particularly friendly. They don't have God in them. If you don't have a love for your fellow man, and so I'll always remember this, that I saw a documentary shot in Gaza a few months before this whole thing went down, and there was a kid in a wheelchair, and this kid had gone over to the garbage section of in Gaza, and an Israeli soldier had shot him, and now he was permanently, this little boy, in a wheelchair. So just because you're an Israeli soldier does not mean that you have a circumcised heart.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't have a crippled heart. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't call circumcised. That's going a little too far with the analogy. But a crippled heart, meaning you should keep your heart and understand it. Have compassion.
We're going to keep things here to the biblical thing.
Have
And
compassion.
God says He'll take your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And people who don't know Jesus don't have a circumcised heart. That's
Okay,
what it
I've
says
never
in the
heard that
scriptures.
term before.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
he's laughing in there, but this is very serious stuff.
All right.
It is.
Because
Okay.
people have hard hearts. And they do treacherous things, Doolin. Treacherous things.
Okay.
And
All
you
right,
know,
let's go on to
just
the-
like religious people. You run into a Christian, says he's a Christian. Jesus himself said, many are going to come to me that day saying, we did signs and wonders, we had tent revivals, we went to church. He said, get away from me, I never knew you. To others, he's going to say, you fed me, clothed me, visited me in prison.
Right.
And they're going to say, Jesus, when did we do this for you? He said, when you did it to the least of these, my brethren, you
Yeah.
did it unto me. Come in, for your reward is great. It's not a salvation of works, but works of love will follow those who really are converted and have circumcised hearts.
That's right.
Otherwise, it's a bunch. Now, this Netanyahu, I don't know. I know he's very intelligent, but I have no idea. I mean, I don't know.
I would say he has a hard heart. Let's put it
Well,
that way.
could
Yeah.
you go in and
Yeah.
kill all those women and children? Couldn't Mossad have gone in surreptitiously into those tunnels and killed the bad guys?
Without having
Well, look at this. What the heck
70,000. Now, by the way, I want to throw out one thing before we get on to the next topic. I know we've got limited time, so we've got to move quick.
Yeah,
here.
we do. We have
But
20 minutes.
Yeah, but let me point this out. Trump on
After 20 minutes, Doolin comes in and shoots you.
Trump mentioned just the other day.
With the camera,
He
of
mentioned
course.
the other day.
We
that
got to get him a circumcised heart so he stops shooting the guests.
he mentioned the other day that
Where are you, Doolin?
that the fighting should stop because Israel has been very successful. They have already killed 50,000 or 60,000 Hamas. That's what he said.
Who said?
Trump. Now that's what he said. Now I think he misspoke. But
Maybe
he said,
5,000 or 6,000?
No, he said
I know,
50,000
but
or 60,000.
well, if he misspoke, what did he mean to say?
Well, he was saying, and this was evidence that this is sufficient retribution. That was the concept, and that Israel has won the war. Now, I disagree with this because his assumption is that all those people that were killed, the 50 or 60,000 or 67,000, were all Hamas. They weren't. You know that. Most of them, 80% of them.
I don't know. I'm
80
not going to say I know anything, 'cause I'm not there.
80% of them were non-combatants. Let's put it that way, easily. All the evidence shows that these are people who were not engaged.
Who were
Well,
put
it's like-
in front of the bombs in order to
They were put
shield
in the
Hamas.
building where the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They blew up a whole building.
In other words, victims of Hamas.
Well, I
Also.
don't know.
They
Israel
did
dropped
use
the
them
bombs.
as shields.
Human
No, wait,
shield.
no. If
They know that.
what happened? This is false about human shield. Let me explain something. Let me explain something, Rhett. What happened? This is called "Where's My Daddy?" Okay, this is a program that was used. You've heard about it, I hope.
No, I
Okay,
have
well,
not heard of
Where's My Daddy is an electronic intelligence program used to identify Hamas, and then once they identified who they were,
Oh,
they would
was that with the cell phones? I didn't know
Yeah.
it was called "Where's My Daddy?"
Well,
But yes, I do know about that.
they would identify who they were, and then they would identify where they slept.
Okay.
And once they found where they slept, they would bomb them in their bedroom of their apartment where they slept. So everybody who was in that building, if they blew up the whole building to kill one Hamas member, all those other people are called, quote, collateral damage.
Yeah.
Collateral damage.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable. Like you said, they could have
It
sent.
may be inexcusable, but all is fair in love and war.
No, it
right?
isn't. That's a lie to say all is
Look,
fair in love and war.
you
Where did you hear
can't-
that? Who wrote that?
I did.
Okay,
Hold on.
good.
Listen,
Yeah,
so-
it's not.
no.
That's an
Well-
absolute
At
lie.
least
All is
it's
fair in love and war.
Not
Barbara
really.
Streisand, all is fair in love.
Yeah, okay.
Barbara Streisand.
Love's a crazy.
Here we are, the idiot Americans.
Yeah.
It's Barbara Streisand.
Okay, all right, number 3. We're out of time. Let's go. Number 3. Yeah, because this is important stuff we're covering. Yeah, yeah. Have a little fun, but this is
I
important.
learned it from Beatle track 33. Okay. Why why did Pakistan just
No,
attack?
no.
Oh,
4,
you want to go the other
3,
one?
3. Yeah.
You want to pick on Israel more. Reported Israeli abuse of Palestine prisoners since their release the last 20. What about the no women that were released? You know why? Because they didn't want the women to be able to tell what the Hamas did to
Red.
them, right?
Rhett.
Reported Israeli abuse of Palestine prisoners. Since their release, the last 20 Israeli hostages have been speaking up about abuses they endured, including limited food, being handcuffed, living in tunnels. But Western media largely ignores allegations of systematic Israeli prison abuse claimed by 1,700 Palestinian captives who were just released in the exchange. So is there a double standard reporting mistreatment?
Yeah. Well, this is. I want to I want to say first of all, I do sympathize with the conditions of the Israelis who were held, and they certainly were held under tough conditions, and that gets
Well,
reported.
you're saying this just to get
I'm-
favor with what about your
No, wait,
going
no,
to say?
no. What I'm saying is that that gets reported frequently.
it's
It gets
horrible. It's all horrible.
And I do also want to point out something that is not
God forgive
well known, that many of these Israelis who are held as hostages and who have died in captivity by Hamas, they were not civilians. They were military, Israeli military. Okay, this is something to keep in mind. And in fact, of the ones that have been recently released, both bodies and living hostages, 4 of those were captured from a tank. Israel was driving into that area around the kibbutzes, and those people were armed and in a tank when they were captured and killed. Now, that is not an innocent civilian being dragged off
How
from.
did you get someone out of a tank?
They got him out of a tank.
Wow.
I'll name the people from the tank.
Yeah, and after he got out, he said, "Thank you very much."
Okay, Oz Daniel was one of them in a tank. Ite Chen, who was killed October 7th, was in the Israeli
was a
tank.
lot.
One of the guys that was captured there
Thanks for nothing.
was the his name is Asaf Hamani, and he was the commander of the Israeli Southern Brigade. That's a very high level position, and he was captured. And then Captain Daniel Perez, he was also, I think, in the tank, and he was killed October 7th, and his body was returned last week. So the point is that these people were not innocent civilians, whether they're dead or they're released. They were engaged in combat as military, active duty military. 2 of them, by the way, were American citizens. Now, this is something most people don't know. A lot of Israelis serving in the Israeli army are American citizens, okay? They actually have dual nationality.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, we all have dual nationality.
No, dual nationality meaning Israeli and American
Citizenship.
citizenship,
Are
dual
you
citizenship.
You have dual citizenship?
I do, but with Switzerland. But if I went to Israel, then I could have.
You could have, yeah.
Israel, yeah.
And
I
the
think my
point.
niece has.
In fact, one of the guys was killed. Omer Nutra. He was a U.S. citizen from Long Island, and he moved to Israel to enlist in the military in Israel. That's what he
wow.
did.
Okay.
So when you say, "Oh, an American's been captured by Hamas," well, guess what? He signed up for the
really
Israeli
an
military.
Israeli.
He's
Okay.
Do you think if I changed my name to Shecky Palmer, that maybe I could get dual citizenship?
100%.
yeah, yeah. I think Shmuel would be a better
Shabbat
name.
shalom.
Shmuel Palmer.
No,
Shabbat
Shlomo. Shlomo.
Shabbat, Shabbat.
Hi, my name's
shalom.
Shlomo. I
Okay,
live in
Shlomo.
Israel.
Shlomo. Okay, and by the way, there are living in Israel today
Yes.
700,000 Americans.
700,000.
700,000. This is according to Ambassador
Hey
Huckabee.
Siri, what's the population?
How many of them are
Now, wait a minute.
sexual
Wait a minute.
deviants?
No.
Do you know
no,
about that?
I don't know, but
A lot of them go there.
Yes, they'll
Why?
take anybody. If you're a pedophile, they'll
anybody.
take them.
As
Israel
long
will?
as
Yes.
you pay the annual
Yes,
fee, you're
it's
in.
a thing. It's a real thing.
You want to
Okay.
sit in front of the temple? You got to pay the money.
okay. Anyway, 700,000. If you think of that, if Ambassador Huckabee is correct that there are 700,000 Americans living in Israel, that means that 1/10 of all Israeli
Are sexual deviants?
No, are Americans. Leave the sexual deviance out. Are Americans. There are only 7 million Israelis living in Israel.
Hey Siri, what's the population
So
of
that's
Israel?
10%.
10% is 700,000.
Yeah, and I'm not good with math, but
Yeah,
I know my
that's
percentage.
the percentage.
Yeah, okay. Look at me. I
Yeah.
do
Won't work at
math.
all.
So anyway,
What's the matter
so
with
so there is that's a very peculiar situation, but we do have what I call a revolving door.
But they're Jews, right? They're American Jews.
Yeah, for the most part, they would be Jewish. Yeah,
They
I
would
don't know
have-
if I don't know if they're dual citizens or not. This is like Marian Adelson. Marian Adelson, she is an American citizen and a Jewish citizen, and she gave $100 million to the Donald Trump campaign. Marian Adelson also gave $100 million to the settlements, illegal settlements in Israel, in the West Bank.
Illegal. Oh, you mean where they were?
Yeah,
putting their
building
homes.
up,
Yeah,
building up.
yeah, okay.
She's contributed $100
Okay.
million to
So
building up
she's
illegal
trying
settlements.
To foment
What's her phone number? I want to call her.
Yeah, well, she is considered to be the
Would
richest.
you like to buy lunch today?
She is considered to be the richest woman in Israel.
Really?
Yeah, and she's probably like
Where did she get all this money from?
her husband, Sheldon Adelson.
What do
Oh,
you-
ran-
Sheldon Adelson. That's her
Sheldon,
husband.
what did
Enough
Sheldon
said.
do?
Enough
Her,
said.
her, he's a
Sheldon.
casino owner.
Yeah, he's big.
Oh,
big,
So-
that's
big
Sheldon.
So
I
he made
know
all his
about
money
him.
off of
Did
stupid.
he die?
Yeah, he died. He made all his money off of stupid Americans who gamble.
Gambling. It's
Yeah.
bad.
You know
Yeah.
Jack in the Box?
Yeah.
Jack in the Box, the founder of that died. His wife inherited $1 billion.
Wow.
She got the $1 billion gone, and she's $100 million in debt because
Well,
they thought she still had the money. They're
Kamala
loaning her money.
got more than 1 billion poof like that in like
Yeah.
less than 3 months. So
All right.
she got.
I'm
him
going to
beat.
be a Democrat.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
This is the new Democratic radio show.
Okay, let
Send
me-
in your
Let me get back to this. The original question.
save your
Brett,
future.
The original question you asked was is media being unfair about the reporting, because they do report in detail about these Israeli captives and that they were mistreated, and I accept that they were mistreated. I mean, when they say they didn't get fed enough, well, keep in mind Israel had a food embargo on all of Gaza, and therefore, if the Israelis didn't get fed, the question is,
I know.
Nobody
And
else-
my first thought is I'd like to go over and interview some of these Palestinian prisoners. But remember this: I've had some very successful people in here, and I remember one man said, "I'd rather have somebody be a thief than a liar, because if you're a liar, I can't deal with you." The Quran allows them to lie to
Okay.
infidels, which they consider us.
Okay.
So you can't trust anything these Palestinians or these people
Bingo.
say.
Okay.
There's no basis, you know.
okay. Well, let me just say this: the Israeli prisoners, I mean the Palestinian prisoners
Yeah.
that were released
Well,
without having to ask them if they were fed. Most of the Palestinian prisoners, many of them, lost 40% of body weight while they were in Israeli prison.
as did the Israeli prisoners.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And we're talking about 1,700 of these people that have been released. Now, of those 1,700, they have been interviewing people on conditions.
And what they say?
Well, they're explaining, in fact, they're explaining that electrocution was used routinely.
Ooh,
To kill?
No,
not to keep them in line.
no, to punish them,
right.
Beatings, they had been beaten, they had been.
There's a lot of
kept in-
hatred there.
yeah, and-
there's a
and-
lot
Yeah,
of
the
hatred.
children on both sides are brought up to hate.
They
That's why
are.
the Israeli soldiers
Both
are
sides.
hateful.
Well, what I'm
These
trying to
guys are
explain
hateful.
here is that this Israeli prison system holding the Palestinians has systematically abused the Palestinian prisoners that they have captured. Now, many of those prisoners should not even be there. They have something called administrative detention. Administrative detention means you can be grabbed off the street in West Bank and be taken away to a prison and sent to Offer prison, Offer, O-F-E-R, and be held there in Offer without charges for 6 months. And then they can renew the 6-month sentence for another 6 months. I think 1/8 of all men in Palestine have been in prison based on that. When you say, oh, they let loose 1,700 of these prisoners, well, that's no big deal because they can go around and round up. Every day they're picking up 30 to 40 Palestinians. Every day they're arresting or capturing. Arrest is the wrong word because they're not brought forward for trial. They're not presented with evidence. In fact, they're claiming that there's secret information requiring them to be held for 60 days. No access to lawyers, no contact with their families, no nothing, and being beaten and mistreated while in prison. This is a bad, bad situation. Okay, so yes, I'm sympathetic with the treatment of the mistreatment of the Israelis, but people need to understand what's going on the other side. The fact that the Palestinians have been abused and mistreated, and this deserves to be known.
But
Okay.
don't the Palestinians have the same rights as the Israelis when they live in Israel? They're treated just like everybody else.
Well, there's a difference there. You're right that there is a separate category for what's called, what would be called Israeli Palestinians, or Israeli Arabs. That's the term for it.
Israeli Arabs.
They don't call them Israeli Palestinians. They're mostly Palestinians, but they call them Israeli Arabs, and they technically have the same rights. That limited number. There are about, I would say, 10% or 20% of the people living in. I said there were 7 million people of Jewish background living in Israel, and then you have
You mean the American background?
no Jewish 7 million
Oh,
Jewish.
okay.
7 million
but
Jews.
700,000 Americans.
Americans, yeah,
Okay.
leave that out.
Gotcha.
That's irrelevant. We're talking 7 million Jews living in Israel.
Okay.
And there are about in the state of Israel, there are about 2 to 3 million Palestinian Arabs
Okay.
and Druze, if you combine the whole bunch, the
Right.
non-Jews.
Right,
non-Jews.
right.
Okay, so that means that the Jews have the majority of the population in Israel.
Sure.
But if you were to include the West Bank, that's 5 million people, and Gaza, that's 2 million people, and if you unite all that, then that combined area of Palestine would have more Palestinians than Jews. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that's part of Israel's goal is to remove the remove the Palestinians and have a majority, if not absolute,
Okay, we
control.
have 7 minutes
Oh,
left.
one more. Let's go on to the
Finally,
next
why
topic.
did Pakistan just attack Afghanistan last week? Pakistan dropped bombs on Kabul and Kandahar. Kandahar in Afghanistan. Will this become a full-scale war? What would be the consequences for the region and the world? Who should get involved in peace talks? So why? Why did it go down? What's going on?
Yeah,
here?
this is. I lived in Pakistan and I also lived in India. Served there in
Okay,
our
cool.
embassies,
Okay,
and I know a
interesting.
lot about that area. And the Taliban. Of course, we all know about the Taliban. We've heard of it. The Taliban ended up eventually taking over Afghanistan. Now they're controlling Afghanistan.
Do they still go under that name, or are they called something
Yeah, they're
else?
called
now?
Taliban. Yeah, they wear the turbans. They have the same outfits as before. And within the
Subjugate their women.
and within now the point is the Taliban believe in Sharia law, but they are not what you called absolute Islamists. They are close. They're ISIS is what I call absolute Islamists.
Who?
ISIS. Yeah. They do not believe in a government. The concept of absolute Islamism is that you only have a caliph, and it is a Ummah, the community of Muslim worshipers. There's no state borders. The Ummah is the people, and there is no such thing as an artificial border. So that's the difference between the Caliph and the Ummah, as opposed to a
They follow the laws outlined in the Quran, which says that they can
well,
kill.
their concept is that the absolute Islamist believes that
Everyone needs to
everyone
be
in the world should be
Muslim.
a Muslim. Yeah,
Right.
These are the
And if
dang-
you're not, you either dead or you pay them.
These are like the baldies here in America. What do you call
Yeah.
them? The bald heads?
skinheads.
The
Skinheads.
skinheads?
Yeah.
Is that what they think?
Yeah,
We
I
should
know.
all be skinheads?
Well, skinheads, I don't know what they think, but I wouldn't want to be one of them.
Right.
I don't know. I have a
Okay.
hair farm going.
Okay,
so
let's
I-
go back to this question of why
Hair farm.
why is Pakistan
Hair today, gone tomorrow.
okay? Why is Pakistan
Hopefully.
attacking? Why is Pakistan attacking Afghanistan? Now,
Yeah, why?
I want to point out for our audience why this is important. Pakistan is a country of 200 million people. 200 million. I mean, I just mentioned Israel's a country of 7 million. Pakistan is 200 million. And Afghanistan, I think, has about 100 million. So you're talking about a big population
That's a lot of people.
of people fighting back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And they are also both, Afghanistan and Pakistan both have borders with Iran. They have common borders with Iran. In fact, the ceasefire that was just negotiated.
Peace fire is a better word
the,
for
the,
it.
the,
but
the,
yeah.
the
I
ceasefire.
like that.
good.
Peace fire is pretty
yeah,
good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to copyright that.
David just invented a new
Ceasefire.
word. Everybody,
Ceasefire.
mark this down.
Yeah.
Peace fire.
Ceasefire,
Okay,
yeah.
that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, David. That was brilliant.
that was actually negotiated with contributions from Iran, the Iranian
Didn't
Foreign
start
Ministry.
The fire.
The Iranians helped negotiate. Now, keep in mind, Iran is right on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. So Iran helped negotiate the ceasefire between the two. Okay, but why
That
are
seems unlikely, but okay.
but why are Pakistan and Afghanistan fighting each other? That's
why?
the question.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
It's something called the TPP. That's called the Tariq-e.
I've heard of that.
The Tariq-e. Anyway, it refers to the Pakistan Taliban. There are Taliban in Afghanistan, and then there's a separate group called the Taliban of Pakistan. The Taliban of Pakistan wants to overthrow the Pakistani government. The Pakistani government is a, quote, sort of democracy, sort of military dictatorship, depending on how you peel it away. But what they want to do is they want to turn it into a caliph with an emirate status, and that would mean essentially that you'd have a Muslim extremist group, more extreme than the Taliban, in fact, who would be in control of 200 million Pakistanis
no.
with nuclear weapons.
Oh no!
With nuclear
Oh,
weapons.
that's
Not
bad.
good.
That's
Listen,
bad news
we got to
bears.
say goodbye for now.
Okay.
I want to thank former U.S. diplomat David Hunter for coming in here today. I want to thank Jill Cohen, yes, the journalist from Southern Florida.
I feel like I didn't even contribute.
You
but
need to
yeah.
come
You
up
did.
more.
You contributed a lot.
You need to come up more often, though. You stay with your sister right here in Hudson's
Yeah, I'll be up more often.
That's great.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What you need to do is get a sponsor and have your own show.
I do have my own show. It's called The Beach Report.
Yeah,
You're
but I mean,
on
you
it.
could do a show up here, like a, what do you call it? What's this thing? A podcast.
Okay, let's work on that.
Yeah.
She's got a podcast. That's
I
going
know.
on.
I'm like, hey,
Hey.
what are we doing here?
Hey,
It's
what
the
are you
Beach
doing here?
It's
10
called
years
double
of the
dipping.
Beach
That's a
Report.
double dipping.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. Whatever. I don't know.
David knows.
Okay.
Show is gone. Bye.
All right. Enjoyed it. That was fun.
All right, you guys. So
We
I
covered a
hope
lot
you
of
also
territory.
had a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
thank you so much, David.
Yeah,
you're,
thanks a lot.
You're a great
Yeah,
sport for being
write,
on the Beach
write
Report.
and give us good reviews.
Yes,
Yeah.
always. Please
It's
give
always
us good reviews.
stimulating
Yes,
conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, always.
And tune into
Good to
the
finally meet
Have
you
you two met
too.
before? No?
No,
Yeah.
well, just on the show.
yeah,
but
tune into the show. We do it every Wednesday.
Yes, that's a good one.
Okay.
Plug the show.
Let's
Plug
take
the
everything
show.
we have here, clean it
Yeah.
up for the next people that are coming in here.
Yeah. All right.
All right, you guys, I'm going to say ciao for now. I hope you enjoyed it. And
for
thank you
now.
mostly to my
ciao.
moderators. I know you guys were on your own today, and thank you for the great job that you always do. All right, I'm going to say ciao for now. We'll see you later. Maybe on the
Adios,
beach.
amigos.
All right.